This was recorded well over a year ago. Just a heads up. You know what else it's been a while for?
Distorted Entertainment.
Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Distorted Entertainment Podcast. My name is Ethan Carpenter. I'm, of course, joined by Mitchell Wade.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We promise we are not trying to take half a year break between every episode.
I'm not making that promise.
I'm making that promise. But to be fair, it has not been 6 months. 6 months since the last episode. But at this rate, we're going to have to take 2 years if we want to do a follow-up top 50 rankings of the year thing.
And that's why you're getting an episode every other day now.
Don't put that pressure on us. Yeah, everybody, welcome back. Glad to be recording again. Yeah, how's everybody doing? We're a podcast. We exist. We
definitely regularly upload.
We regularly upload, and in the words of Faith No More, we care a lot. There's a lot of news that has gone down over the past month and a half or so since we've uploaded our last episode. And the problem is there's been so much that we can't really get to all of it. We were bouncing the idea back and forth briefly there about if our schedule continues to not be regular, that we would kind of just put aside the news aspect unless something really major happens. But I'm hoping that we're going to get back into a regular schedule starting now. So we're going to do this. Just keep in mind, we're recording like today is the 2nd of July. So we got a little bit of a what's it called? A delay in terms of dates. And the first thing, obviously, we should probably bring up is rest in peace to Trevor Strnad of the Black Dahlia murder.
It hit me hard.
Same. It hit me really hard, too. I only recently started getting into Black Dahlia since Nightbringers came out. And I started listening to them more and more. And then, oh, man, the news that Trevor died. I'm like, oh, that's...
Yeah, I've been listening to him since high school, I think, like maybe my junior year. So we're talking like 2010, 2011.
Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace to Trevor Strnad.
I think this is the first like musician death that like really hit me hard. Like, don't get me wrong, you know, there were others where it was like, oh shit, no, that sucks. But this was the first one where it was like an actual artist that like, when I practice harsh vocals, that's like what I'm aiming for and trying to mimic the sound. And kind of like my metal phase was growing up with Black Dahlia after I like really started getting to mellow death and everything.
Yeah.
So I know for you, like maybe Paul Gray was probably hard for you.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah. Back when I was in high school and, not high school, middle school, when I was really into Slipknot, when Paul Gray passed, it was pretty rough. And I was bummed out when Joey passed as well.
I forgot about Joey.
Yeah. Shortly after Trevor passed, there was a change.org petition put up to make sure that is it the Grammys that are the music?
Grammys.
To have the Grammys actually recognize Trevor in their
because they're really bad about doing shit like that for anything that's not like accessible metal, as I'll call it.
Yeah, because I'm sure if like James Hetfield passed, God forbid, or I'd probably even say Dave Mustaine at some point.
Yeah, they
would probably do it. But when it comes to death metal, it's not really. Like you weren't going to see Alexi from Children of Bodom on their in memoriam section, which is a bummer. I feel like they should start. It's that can kind of feed into another conversation that I've been arguing with people recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. Did you have anything else to say about Trevor before we move on?
No, it sucks, and it sucks to know that we're probably not going to get any more Black Dahlia. And even if we do, aside from like maybe like some tracks that they had already recorded and finished up with Trevor.
Yeah.
If they like decide to continue, which is totally fine if they do.
Absolutely.
No matter how good the vocalist is, he won't be Trevor. That doesn't mean it won't be good music or he won't be a good vocalist. It's just one of those things where you're like, this isn't fully the same. It's like a lot of people when the drummer of Opeth left, the first one, who is now the drummer of Soen. A lot of people were like, shit, like this isn't the same. And even though I liked Axe, who is now also left, I can see where people would feel that way. And that's the same with a lot of bands.
I can agree to that. I think it's way more prevalent for a vocalist, though.
For sure. Just because they have a signature sound and everything.
Definitely. I mean, there are people that just refuse to accept like Suicide Silence after The Black Crown, because that was the last album with Mitch on it.
Yep.
They said they should change their name, do something like that. I could see Dahlia doing what Bodum did and like maybe, continuing, but they changed their name and maybe have a different vocalist come in, which I don't think would be a bad move. I'm not against them continuing with the name Black Dahlia either. I'm sure Trevor wouldn't have minded either in this situation, but I don't want to put words in his mouth, obviously. But I agree. It'll be hard for somebody to fill in if they choose to continue. And I'm really bummed out because the one time I got a chance to see them, I left the show early because I wasn't feeling well.
And I've never gotten to see them. I always miss the shows. And now I'm like, crap. Now I'm never going to get to see Black Dahlia.
Yeah, I think I bought a ticket to the Emerson when they were doing their Miasma tour, the Miasma anniversary.
Yeah.
And I watched Disentomb, which is like one of the few slam bands I kind of like. And then because they put on a good show, but then I just wasn't feeling well. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna skedaddle. And it's a major bummer. Obviously, rest in peace, Trevor. Depression is a dick.
It's garbage tier.
It sucks. If anybody is struggling with their mental health, please reach out to somebody. Definitely, I think Mitch and I both know how the general feeling of how people feel when they're having issues like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't mind opening up. I don't want to make this our whole podcast and everything.
No, obviously not.
But I mean, when I have like two forms of like depression, and by that I just mean how it onsets. I have like a slow onset where it's just over days it gets worse and worse. Worst ones is like the instantaneous, like out of nowhere I'm just like miserable, and it gets to the point where I almost slam my head into a wall because I don't know, my brain's just like freaking out anxiety attack because I know I'm about to feel like super fucking miserable. And yeah, it sucks. Like it's only gotten worse as like my body is slowly started falling apart with the heart problems, and I'm having muscular problems, and I've gained weight and blah 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 whatever. And it's to the point like my house isn't clean, and I absolutely hate that. I've always been a super like clean, organized person when I was younger, and like I haven't played my instruments in who knows how long, except occasionally I'll touch my guitar or violin, but it's not to the extent where I was like in high school and I was playing for like 2 to 3 hours a day. So yeah, depression sucks. Reach out to people if you can. I mean, there's so many options. Get professional help. I'm actually finally reaching out. I've gotten very lucky. IU Health Insurance has this program where if you meet a certain criteria, a nurse is assigned to you and like reaches out to you. And I didn't know about this. I didn't sign up for it or anything. I have heart failure. I ended up on her list. She called me one day. She sent me some dietary information. The second time she called me, I just like straight up opened up and I was like, look, I'm having these physical issues, this dietary issue, and my mental health is garbage. And she's like, cool, I'm signing you up for a dietitian, which I talked to yesterday. She's super nice. I'm trying out, what I can. Let me tell you, by the way, folks, sodium, is in everything, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because I'm on a low sodium diet, and I think the goal is 1,200 milligrams, and I've already had 900 milligrams today. And I didn't even add like salt to much of anything I ate.
Yeah, that kind of, salt is kind of a staple in American foods at this point.
Yep. And then I haven't heard from the social worker, but I'm like super excited. Like I really struggled in terms of like this weird decision making where I'd like pull up, I don't know what it is, like Psychology Today or whatever, and they give you a list of like all the people in Indianapolis that accepts your insurance, their pay scales, what they specialize in. And I just never could choose. It's like choosing computer parts where you start reading all the reviews and then you read the one bad one that's like, well, mine came broken and didn't work. And then you start like panicking, like, well, should I buy this thing? I have that issue. I love building computers. I hate buying the parts.
I completely forgot what I was going to bring up earlier. I said there was a thing that I could transition to while talking about Trevor.
We were discussing like how metal isn't represented at the Grammys and shit like that.
Yes. Okay, now that you reminded me, I have one thing to add. Just I was scrolling on Facebook for a second. I guess the bassist and vocalist of Nile just left the band. Kind of interesting.
I didn't know about that. I'm not big into Nile, but
it literally just happened.
Oh shit.
So I saw it because Daniels from Fleshbore said he might send an email. I'm like, I wonder if they're looking for a bassist vocalist or if they would split it up. Because I would probably be interested in trying out.
They probably would be willing to split it.
Yeah, but the email they specifically said Nile bass tryouts or something.
Like, well, you could always ask.
True, that's true. Anyway, so yes, people. The mainstream community obviously does not really care about metal in general, but especially, death metal. And recently...
Or black metal.
Nobody likes black metal. Recently, on America's Got Talent, we have had a couple of people there was a little girl and then a choir tryout. And the whole gimmick for those was that they were doing metal vocals, harsh vocals specifically. And I thought the girl whose name I can't remember, she has a Facebook page that I ended up following. She did the
Spirit Box one, right?
Yes, she did Spirit Box's Holy Roller. And I thought it was a very good tryout. Especially because she's like 9 or 10. And I thought it was excellent. She actually passed. She passed on to the next round. I don't think any of them X'd her out, which is cool.
And this, I want to preface this. This isn't the first time something like this happened, because there was like a brother-sister duo on like American Idol or America's Got Talent that the girl did harsh vocals too.
It's actually a lot more common in other countries' versions of the show.
Yep.
For people to go in and do a harsh vocal tryout. It's just America has always had it ingrained in them that, metal is satanic, metal is the devil, and it's evil,
and even stuff like that. Like, I don't hear that a lot, but a lot of people are also just like,
oh, there were plenty on the Facebook comments.
Oh, I'm sure. But also, I also hear shit that I get so sick of, where it's like, well, you can't understand them, and I want to be able to sing along, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like, fine, I guess. And then they'll listen to, like, K-pop and not know any Korean or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Yeah, I agree. So, and I wanted to bring her up first because I actually got into it with a few people on the Facebook post of that. And I even made a TikTok that actually did really well. I started going onto TikTok, and it took less than a day to turn into horny talk, and then another day to figure out, oh, I'm probably a sub talk. Okay. For some reason, a lot of dominatrixes started showing up on my TikTok feed.
Hell yeah, like, good for you.
I'm like, okay, cool. Mainly, it's just them making fun of cringy comments. I'm like, All right, I'm for it. I think I'm like, these people are really funny. But I made a TikTok that was kind of addressing the whole comment, and it frustrates me on how little people are willing to at least give this stuff a chance. Because there was the very common, oh, you call this talent, or it takes talent to do this, question mark. And there was like one guy that was commenting on every positive comment that was on the post. And he was doing that whole thing where he's like, yeah, I'm trying to have a conversation, but also shutting you down every time you try to bring up a comment, bring up something. I'm just like, dude, it's literally the best comment you can do to that. And they still, they deflect like they have a trap card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is if you don't think it takes talent, do it. Do it. You wouldn't be able to go... they would not be able to do it almost at all, A, and B, definitely not for a whole song, and then definitely not for a whole set. I was in a technical death metal band. I played 40-minute sets sometimes. It takes practice, hard work, dedication, and know-how to do these kind of vocals, especially for long periods of time without hurting yourself.
Also, can we talk about like the muscle endurance that you need from like your core and like diaphragm and everything? God, like I don't know if you ever get this. I definitely get it more now that I'm out of practice, but I'll like start getting like muscle tightness in like the back of my jaw and like the back of my head.
Definitely.
Especially if I do like a really long one.
Yes, absolutely. I actually had a vocal lesson recently with the guy from the band Tala. I'm not really big into their music, but he's a very, very good vocalist, and he knows how to describe things, and his rates are super reasonable. So I was telling him some of my problems, and it calmed some of my fears, because even though I've gotten the nose scope a couple of times this year, and in general a couple of times over the past decade, just to make sure I'm not destroying my voice. And by the way, my vocal cords are squeaky clean. No damage whatsoever. So I'm doing something right. He said that he was able to talk me into peeling back my sound to make sure that it's coming from the right place and the sounds are correct. And he said, yeah, it looks like you're creating your distortion where it needs to be. But he said, my problem is I overcompress my voice with like air control. I'm using too much compression.
You're trying too hard to be that Travis Ryan.
Not really. He actually compared me more to Phil Bozeman, which is kind of weird because I don't think I sound like Phil that much.
I could see somewhat, but
kind of. But he said that, you're using a bit too much vocal compression, which he said is better than the other issue he usually has with people where they don't use enough air support.
Yeah.
So he gave me some exercises to try and, relax a little bit, because you only want to put so much energy into vocals. You only need enough to make the sound you're trying to make, and you don't want to use more because you're just wasting energy.
Yep.
And that is a problem that actually extends into something like this. I know that after doing, an hour or even an hour, like an hour and a half of the podcast, or if I'm talking for a long time with my therapist or something like that, my voice starts to, get tired. I kind of fall into the lower part of my register, and it starts getting like something like this when I start getting tired. And, it comes from a lack of air support in that regard. I don't breathe before I start speaking. My voice is tight, et cetera, et cetera. So it's interesting. And it just all goes back to, do you know how hard it is to do some of this? And I didn't even reply. Some people tried replying, and it was the same dude that was like, trying to, you can't not like things anymore. Except you can have a preference. You can say, I don't like screaming. That is completely valid.
100%.
I don't like falsetto. I don't like.
Whoa! What?
Let me finish. I do not like the really high pitched rap that has autotune on it.
Okay,
that's not just a technique though that goes into like production and stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's the same idea. I don't have, I just don't like something like that. It's completely valid, but I am not going to sit here and say that takes no talent or, people aren't working hard, even if some cases I kind of do think some things are lazy, but it just depends on the artist.
Yeah. Well, so like, I mean, for me, I will literally tell people like things are bad, but it depends on the person. Like when I tell you something is bad, unless I'm being like 100% serious, really, it just means I don't like this. But like that's me like joking around.
Right.
But when I'm having a serious conversation about music, I will literally tell somebody, no, this is bad. And here is why. And it could be like a technique or
you have some constructive criticism.
Right. Or I'm like, I do not dig the sound. For instance, I really do not like punk vocals.
Okay.
I don't like the talkiness. It's the same reason I don't really care for Slayer, because it's the same thing. It's just yelling. And I just don't dig it. But by no means do I like go, this is bad. It's just, this is not for me. I don't like pop country. I don't like, pop music in general. But guess what? Boy bands, I think boy bands are interesting, depending on the band. I'm more talking like early 2000s than 90s boy band.
Yeah, I actually think Big Time Rush kind of slaps. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't really remember any of their music.
I liked the show too, so that could be.
And that's all I know from them. But there is a huge difference between liking something and understanding something and knowing it's bad because you understand the thing. And if you don't understand it, don't assume it's bad. Like, and that's like general in life things. Like, there are, movies, video games that might not be your style. I don't really care for cozy games, but I see the appeal. I understand why people might like to, do something like Stardew Valley and everything. It's relaxing. It's nice. It's methodic. But I want like action and story and like a challenge that's like based on like motor skills, like Doom or Apex Legends or some where it's me going against somebody else.
Yeah. I don't really like Souls games that much.
I can never decide if I like Souls games, honestly. I do, but
I respect Souls games and I respect people that love Souls games. It's one of those things, I can play it for maybe 30 or 40 minutes. And even if I'm doing well, like I started getting the hang of Elden Ring when I was playing it the last time I did, which was like 2 months ago.
Right.
Because I finally killed like this big giant thing. And I was like, it felt really good because I was banging my head against a wall. But I'm like, I feel like it's just kind of slow paced. It's not really, it's just not my thing. And I also admit that I am bad. So it's difficult for me to get into it, but I like the concept of Souls games.
Yeah.
But this guy was just like, there was another comment where somebody said the same thing. It's like, do you actually know how hard it is to do stuff like this at any like level of being good or even decent? And he's like, no, I don't know that. And I commented and I was like, you could always look into it and not be a dick.
Yeah.
Like you could try and look at it. And another thing I told him on a comment that I made that he replied to, I was like, so the concept of false chord growling is very similar, if not just another level of throat singing.
I was about to say Mongolian throat singing.
It's using the same techniques, and it's weird. I can growl, but I can't really do the throat singing. I don't have that much control yet. I've gotten it before, but it's not my specialty. And at that point, I was sick of arguing with people, so I commented, and then I turned off notifications for the photo.
Right.
I'm like, I'm done.
It took my parents a very long time. And I have really cool parents in that regard. My parents were super like into music and arts and everything. But, when their classically trained sons started getting, like, they let me to listen to like Gorillaz and some other stuff. But like punk rock. Like they got me like a Green Day and like Rise Against and shit like that. But man, when I got into metal, they were like hesitant, and I remember my dad telling me to like turn my shit down every now and again. And of course, as I get heavier and heavier, like, because originally it was Disturbed, and they were like, okay, well, I can understand. I just don't know why he likes this loud music. But then I started doing things like In Flames and Trivium, and then finally like Gaerea and Opeth and Lamb of God. They didn't get it for the longest time, and like we would have conversations, and I would show them stuff. But as I've gotten older, and like my it's not sophistication, but like understanding of music and like how it's written, the composition and everything has gotten even better. And I can curate it towards like understanding like classical music and classical composition and being able to find those elements
and explain them
and being able to explain them. My parents were like, oh my God, like the stuff he listens to is really fascinating. I just don't like the growling. Like my dad's even to the point he's like, I don't mind the growling.
It's completely fair. Just don't be a dick.
Like I'll show my dad things like, I mean, I've shown my parents Haken. My parents love Haken.
Oh, I could probably show my mom Haken, and she would probably appreciate it. I don't think she'd like it.
Absolutely loves Cockroach King.
I should show my mom Cockroach King. I would love an episode where we bring our parents on it.
I mean, that would be somewhat hard for me just because they live in Bloomington.
True. Also, that's a if we get popular kind of thing.
My mom doesn't mind Gaerea. Okay. She likes Opeth when Opeth's doing everything but the death metal.
Okay, so they like Damnation. I got it.
Yep. Damnation. They don't mind the newer Opeth stuff too, because my dad will listen to it and he's like, "Oh, this just sounds like Yes. Oh, this is just Rush." And I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, I guess that's true, isn't it? Yeah.
My sister recently, because she really enjoyed, what's the song? Initiate by Haken. It's off of their album Affinity.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
It's the one that comes right after The Mountain.
I started listening to The Mountain.
Good. I don't have to give it to you now.
I haven't gotten through it, and it's been like 4 weeks.
It's such a good album.
Hello, Cat.
But she really liked Initiate, and I showed her a couple other things, and then Porcupine Tree came up. And she was like, wow, this is really cool. And she's like, so I was just like, oh my God, my sister likes prog rock and metal. Oh my God, thank God.
I still argue that metal and, I mean, kind of rock too, there is something for you. That I think everybody can enjoy.
No, I'm 100% sworn by this. If you tell me the type of music you like, I can probably find you a metal band that you can at least appreciate. You might not fall in love with them.
That would be a cool YouTube video. I think that would be a cool like challenge
because
if people didn't like it.
If people were like, "Oh, I only like bluegrass," Native Howl, boom. Easy, done. Get out of my face.
My dad actually he was shown Native Howl and he showed them to me. And I'm like, he didn't really like it. He thought it was interesting. But I'm like,
that's more than you'll ever get from your father, to be fair.
Yes, I think so. But it's weird. I remember on the Kill Switch episode, I talked about how I was playing something off of As Daylight Dies, and he didn't like loud enough that you could hear it. Like usually he has me turn it down quite a bit, but he didn't say anything. But sorry to interrupt real quick. Speaking of Native Howl, they just won a music contest show, TV show
good for them.
I forget what it's called, so forgive me, but they won the finals for that. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
But like jazz, Lechuga is a Chilean jazz metal project. It's mostly instrumental. Pretty awesome. My mom likes them.
Lechuga sounds like something when somebody doesn't quite know the name of Meshuggah, something that they would say.
Well, do you know what Lechuga stands for? Because it's Spanish or Portuguese or something.
I don't offhand.
It's lettuce.
I have no
I believe
comment.
it's the guy. I think it's the main guitarist's last name, if I'm correct.
I feel like I may have listened to them before.
I
can't
probably have made you listen to them because they're very djenty, somewhat.
Gotcha. Are they instrumental?
For the most part, they have like one song that has vocals.
I think you have shown me them.
There's Tres Pallium, which is a French, almost New Orleans swing jazz. Joe Duplantier did a guitar part for one of their songs on an EP that I really like.
Ooh.
You know, pop. I mean, we could go baby metal. We can do, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out of Japan, but we could do Lady Baby. Though, to me, Lady Baby is, while amazing, kind of like a...
Cringy?
Not cringy. I was almost going to say like a joke, but not in like they are a joke equals bad. Like, they're just doing this for like fun kind of thing.
Yes.
Like Psycho Stick and stuff like that.
I do like me some Psycho Stick.
But yeah, I mean, metal and music in general borrows from genres all over the place, but metal seems to be the one that is most willing to experiment, and that experimentation is popular because there are plenty of people that do pop experimentations and rap experimentation and everything, but I just feel like those don't get talked about unless you're really into those genres. And it might be the same thing for metal. It's just because I'm really into music composition and metal.
I definitely agree.
The other thing, and I think this is just public, the way people consume music, and this might have been always a thing since like the radio was invented. People aren't really focusing on the instrumentation. For the most part, they want a decent background beat and sound, but they're more focusing on the singer and the lyrics. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
And they may, I think definitely hooks they're looking for like a hook, something catchy.
Which is why rap works so well. Correct. Because the backing beat and everything, you want a good one. You can't just do like a metronome sound. But
Drake.
But people are there for the actual rapper themselves and everything. And that's why I tend to not like pop and rap, because the background stuff is not really a part of the main piece. But in a lot of metal, everyone's kind of a part of the show. Granted, the bass player, unless you're listening to like Tech Death, tends to get buried, unfortunately.
Or Primus.
Or Primus. Or, like a lot of prog bands bring the bass up front.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But everyone's a part of it. And like, I had like a quick like obsession with Septic Flesh. Granted, everyone knows I absolutely adore that band. But they're so different from other symphonic metal bands that I've seen because they make the metal instrumentation a part of the full symphony. They're just another section in a symphony. Versus somebody like Flesh God Apocalypse or Epica, the symphonic parts are more in the background as a support, and the metal and vocals are up front. But in Septic Flesh, it's orchestrated like an orchestra where, maybe the strings all of a sudden have their moment in the shine, or the choir, or the horns, and everyone else is doing more rhythmic harmony backing. And that's what makes this music interesting and exciting, is looking for those kinds of like, how is everything fitting together? That's where I get my enjoyment from this stuff. The lyrics and everything are bonus, but it's like, I'm going to be honest, for most of like Black Dahlia songs, I don't know the lyrics. Like, I'll be able to understand Trevor, no problem, but I'm not really paying attention to him. So when he's talking about some of the horror topics that he talks about, and I really start paying attention, I'm like, oh God, what?
Yes. Trevor, if you're not paying attention to the vocals, or like the lyrics, he is really good. He was really good with flow, and like he also did a lot of expression with his vocals, like physically moving his face a lot while he, vocalizes to have a bit more personality in the vocals. Because me and my roommate were like, we wanted to do a cover of In Hell Is Where She Waits For Me, kind of like as a tribute to Trevor. And I looked at the lyrics. I'm like, oh, this song is really rapey.
Yep.
No, he told me what the song was about, and I'm like, gotcha. And then I looked at the lyrics, and while yes, it's bad, it's not as like it's not slam, so it's not like explicit
or
as
porno
explicit.
Grind or
it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it is definitely clear. This is a story about a priest that rapes people. I'm like, okay, still a good song, but I'm like,
this song
okay.
slaps, but now I'm uncomfortable about it slapping.
I looked at the lyrics after you told me about the Lonely Dark or whatever it's called on Nightbringers, the song about him being a worker in a morgue. No, that was definitely you. You told me about like him being a
song on Nightbringers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think the Lonely Dark might have been on Verminous.
But
I still don't like that album.
And it's funny because I'll go back to that album like, oh my God, this song's so good. Oh, I'm going to look up the lyrics.
Good,
I'm going to look up the lyrics to sing along. And then I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I don't want to sing this. I even have a hard time with, oh God, what is the song? It's off of Nocturnal.
I Worship Only What You Bleed.
No, it's the second to last song. It's about suicide, but man, he is really descriptive in that one.
Is it Death Mask Divine?
No.
Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah, so. I'm looking it up. I know it's the second to last song.
To a Breathless Oblivion.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That song is amazing, and it has like the chorus is just thunderous and grabs you. And I love the lyrics and the way the song fades out and everything, but man, is it dark and depressing.
I have not heard that one. I do know the first song off of Abysmal is about how Trevor like wished he was never born or something.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of people don't like Abysmal. I do. I think it's a good album, but Receipt is it's literally him just like, please return me.
Yeah.
Vlad's Son of the Dragon, obviously, I hope most people know who Vlad the Impaler is.
Yeah, I do like that song. And I think I like Threat Level number 3 too.
Yeah. Nocturnal is probably my favorite album by them. It's such a good one. But anyways, yeah, so when I listen to this music and everything, like, the vocals are an instrument to me. The words that they choose is just rhythmic articulation. And that's it. Like, yes, I do like the words. Yes, I like looking up the lyrics. And it's not like I only listen to metal. I listen to classical music. I listen to indie folk. I recently found out I really like that, like, New Orleans style, almost jazz folk music. A lot of people call it Americana folk kind of thing. If you've ever watched like Over the Garden Wall, a lot of the music in that could be interpreted in that, where it's got like some nice woodwinds, like clarinets, and maybe a couple of like horns that have like mutes in them, but they're also including things like banjos and washboards and stuff like that, and gives a very like swampy New Orleans vibe almost. A good band I recommend is the Bridge City Sinners. And the lead singer, who is a woman, actually occasionally growls, even though like none of the instrumentation is distorted.
This is also kind of a misconception that some people have, where harsh vocals only exist in metal music.
Well, and furthermore, while I agree with you, that metal equals harsh vocals.
Yes, my aunt is like that.
I think a lot of people are, and then they forget things like Metallica exists, and I don't know, most of the 80s metal bands that weren't
Judas
like
Priest, Dio.
Iron Maiden,
just
Black Sabbath,
power metal,
just all of power metal, all of progressive metal, like regular progressive metal.
Yes.
Dream Theater. It's like, because people just have this idea that metal equals fast, chuggy growls.
I blame black metal, the second wave particularly, because I think that is where most of, if not all of the whole metal is satanic as a whole thing comes for, like, really cemented.
I mean, maybe,
I know there was some of that back when Sabbath started up.
Sabbath,
Slayer,
Judas Priest, Slayer.
I guess it makes sense that Judas Priest would have had some.
Even things like Iron Maiden, because they had like shit like Number of the Beast and everything.
That's also true.
Dio even was in that. Like it's not just black metal. I'm not going to lie. Like the whole, burning of churches really didn't help the cause, and definitely like brought it to the forefront. But to also be fair,
I was
I don't
mistaken.
think most people know what black metal even is.
But I do think when somebody thinks of a metal band as burning down churches and, killing people, I think that is where their mind goes to because of.
Thanks, Varg. You piece of shit. Because I'm not going to blame Eson for that. Eson's a good
true.
boy.
He was just a nerd.
That is all he is. He's like, I really like Satan, but I also really like music. So
I'm
going to do what I want.
I can't remember if I listened to all of, but I did listen to most of Anthems of the Wilkin at Dusk or whatever it's called.
Is that the popular Emperor album?
Yes. It was cool.
I still haven't listened to it. I really like his solo work though.
Mm-hmm. I did listen to, is it a Ibakari?
Oh, I mean, it probably is Ibakari. I always pronounced it. Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm looking at this, it's Iba. Oh, I always pronounce it Ibaraki. The Trivium, the Matt Heafy black metal project that had I
listened to a lot. I listened to the songs there. I really liked the song that had what's his name from MCR in it. I thought it was insane.
Gerard Way. The song was Ronin.
I thought it was insane. Like when my roommate and I first heard it, we were like, "That's not Gerard Way. Like that has to be that has to be Eson or something." And then I realized, Eson didn't do any vocals on this song.
Also, that's not even remotely close to how Eson sounds, anyways.
I know, but it's one of those things where it's like I can't picture Gerard Way doing the pterodactyl highs.
Well,
I'm like,
so yeah,
dang, that was cool.
Yeah, when I was listening to it the first time, I was like, I heard Matt Heafy come in, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's Matt. And then the screaming happened, and I was like, man, Matt sounds really good. He's usually not like the best on these like super highs.
I would argue that I think stuff like that might be even beyond him at this point. So when I agree, when I heard it first, I was like, I'm like, Matt's been holding back on us, I guess.
and then like you just go through the whole song, and I'm like, I know what MCR sounds like.
It's like I don't hear Gerard anywhere, and then it clicks,
and then you look it up, and
what the hell?
Yeah, I remember like people. Matt Heafy was replying to people, and he's like, "Oh no, I did all the cleans, the screamings, Gerard," and everyone's like, "Excuse me,
pardon?
What do you mean?" And then you like find out that Gerard's actually like super into black metal, and you're like, "Why aren't you doing that, please?"
If the next MCR record wants to be a black metal album, I'm for it.
Welcome back to the Black Parade Black Metal Edition.
That'd be kind of cool. Also, not gonna lie, I listened to the new MCR song that dropped, and it's hot trash. I do not like it at all. And people are like, "This is one of the best songs they ever put out." I'm like, I had to skip through most of it because I did not like it. They were like, "The breakdown's great." I'm like, "This isn't a breakdown." I'm like, this isn't a breakdown.
But I really like Eson's solo stuff, which is how I was introduced to Eson. I had never even... I mean, I knew of Emperor, but I did not know Eson was Emperor.
Is Emperor a solo project?
No, Emperor is a full-on black metal band he was just the front man.
I think Varg's project was solo or whatever it's called.
There's a song by Isan in there on his solo stuff called like Lend Me the Eyes of a Millennia, and that hits different. It's really good. It's got this like consistent like synth part that plays throughout, and I don't know what it is about that, but it is so haunting, and he's just doing the constant like black metal vocal. It's so good. I fucking love Isan. I love that little Satan boy. I mean, he is a Satanist. He goes by that and everything.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's the same with Nurgle, I'm pretty sure.
I hate Nurgle so much. I was thinking of actually listening to the Satanist soon, though.
I'm not going to lie. Like, it's not a bad record.
Most people say it's almost a perfect record. Yeah.
I know Joey freaking loves that record. And I have a couple of other friends that are like, just like, this is their best record.
Do you know what Fantano gave it?
He either really fucking hated it or really fucking loved it.
Take a number guess.
8.
9.
Damn. I need to re-listen to it. I'm not super big on Nurgle. Like, ignoring personality, whatever. Just like in terms of music style, I'm not the biggest Nurgle fan, but I do not hate him. And let me tell you, the song that he did on Ibaraki, what one was that? Akumu? Fucking is really good. But it's not because of his vocals.
Yeah. Man, we got on a major tangent.
Yeah, we did. Well, it's almost like we're really passionate about metal music, and we built an entire podcast around it.
This is true. But yeah, so the little girl did really well on
I forgot it was about
America's Got Talent. About America's Got Talent. She has a Facebook page. Go support her.
Also, there was this choir that did stuff too.
There was a choir that did a death metal choir version of what is that? It's that big. It's Fortuna or whatever it's called. And then they also did Toxic by Britney Spears. So that was cool. I know the girl that did the Spirit Box cover has a Facebook page. I just can't remember what it's called at this point. It's also cool. Spirit Box invited her on stage a couple days later.
I was thinking, like, didn't the lead singer say something or do something?
Yeah, they invited her on stage, and that just kind of cements that Courtney LaPlante is really, really cool. Yeah. And I know they just released something last week, but I have not listened to it yet.
I still haven't even listened to that album, honestly. It's on the back burner. It's one that I want to at least give a shot, even though I know some people have told me you probably aren't going to like super, super dig it.
You're going to like a few songs, I think, but it's not going to be your favorite thing in the world. My favorite song on there is the opener. It's called Sun Killer, which there's been a lot of like bands doing the whole Sun X thing. There's Sun Killer. You listened to Sun Eater by Job For A Cowboy.
Swallow the Sun in general.
The Sun, Sun, and then I think Lorna Shore did another song recently called Sun Killer. I guess I could talk about that. I have started to embrace the new Lorna Shore.
I know people are loving them.
Well, the thing is, I was so like against it for a while because everybody was like, "Oh man, to the Hellfire's so good," and really they were just writing the last 30 seconds because of the breakdown and because of Will Ramos's vocals. And I will admit, when I finally listened to it, I'm like, "This is cool. He has chops," but for me, he was just kind of doing a Dickie Allen impression. And I don't think Dickie did it a lot on Yaldabaoth. On the previous album, he literally did a thing where the music would stop and he would like do that snorting thing. I don't know if you've listened to the Hellfire.
No.
Okay, let me give you a timestamp because I think you know what I'm talking about, but I also want you to hear it. To the Hellfire. And Ramos has really good vocals. I think he's a fantastic vocalist. But I was just so sick of the song. Of everybody like.
Didn't you also like compare it to like Alex Terrible as well?
No, it was mainly Dickie Allen, and you'll see what I mean. Let me find it. Go ahead and start at 5:14. It's when the breakdown starts building up. Cool. All right. Did you get to the part I was like, do you know what I was talking about?
Yeah.
Essentially. The snorting thing. And I don't think Dickie did that in Yaldabaoth. If he did, I don't remember, but he did that in the opening track of their previous record. And it's literally just the music kind of cuts out and he's doing the, I can't do it. At least not right now. I'm not warmed up. And people were just writing on it. It was like the best thing ever. He's the best vocalist ever. I'm like, he just sounds like Dickie Allen. Infinite Annihilator did this in 2015. I find even Dickie Allen came out and said, dude, I think it's really cool. I don't know what people are freaking out about. So I'm like, I kind of grew into it. I listened to that EP, and I think the other songs on the EP are better, personally. And I've started listening to singles as they came out. Do you know the genre of epic doom?
No.
It's a popular one. I would describe it as doom metal with like, let me just go look it up. It's weird because not Metallum, that channel you really, really like,
Banger TV.
Yeah, they talk about epic doom. In that video of how to get into doom metal, they talk about epic doom.
I usually don't watch their like how to get into stuff.
I watched it just out of.
I also don't watch your Lock Horns because I start getting really angry when they start mentioning bands that I'm like, that's not part of the genre, or that band does belong in that genre.
Lockhorns?
It's
I don't think I've watched that series.
Yeah, they basically, it's a live stream thing. They're like 2 hours long. They're not worth your time unless you really want to argue.
Fair enough. So epic doom is basically like old school doom or stoner doom mixed with power metal.
Okay, it was
influence.
Exactly what I thought it was.
Well, I wanted to be sure because I described some of the next track that Lorna Shore released after that EP. I listened to it. And I was like, this sounds, the only way I can describe it is epic deathcore.
Gotcha.
Which I guess that song has some influence of that too, but it's earlier in the track. It goes into more extreme as it goes, obviously. And I guess the proper description would be symphonic deathcore or something like that, but not in the same way that Shadow of Intent was,
right?
Per se. That's the only way I could describe. It's like epic deathcore. It's got these grand, sweeping like synths and things like that. I'm like, this actually sounds really cool. It's not something I would listen to constantly, but a track or two, and it's just, I don't even know where we got it. How did I get into talking about Lorna Shore?
I don't know.
I don't remember. But like, yes, it's interesting. I like Lorna Shore's, like, I started accepting them a little bit more. I actually don't remember how we got here. My brain hurts.
Maybe we should get on with the rest of the show.
I keep trying, but then I go back. I go back on I think, right, we were talking about Sun Killer, Spirit Box.
Right.
And I was like, they released a song called Sun Eater. I haven't listened to it.
Oh, yeah, the Sun stuff.
Yes.
The Sun stuff.
The Sun stuff, yes. And so they released a song called Sun Killer, or Sun Eater, and it was kind of a joke towards what you listen to recently. Speaking of singles, I did listen to a couple new singles that have dropped recently. I have a list of everything that's released in like the last month or two, or not everything, but like I think I did listen to the new In Flames track.
Oh yeah,
and I liked it.
I totally forgot about that.
I liked that, and I finally listened to the Halo Effect.
Oh my god! Finally?
It was really good.
Yeah, it's just Old In Flames.
It's really good.
It's
I dig it.
Legitimately just Old In Flames. Like, it's not even just Old In Flames sound. It is literally all the old band members of In Flames plus.
Yeah, I mean, so I enjoyed it, and that's the thing. I still like Michael Stane. He's one of those vocalists that I think if I heard, I would recognize him now. He actually has a pretty unique sound.
Yes, he does. I've never heard another vocalist do his growls.
Yes. So I thought those were really, really good. I didn't realize Hollywood Undead was still around.
Yeah.
And I wish I still didn't.
Yeah, I was into them in high school. I think only like their first two records, but
I remember the new Lamb of God song being different sounding.
I'm kind of off of Lamb of God at this point. Like,
it sounds like punk.
Yeah, which Randy Blythe is probably super happy about because he's he's
punk. Much more of a punk head. Yeah. I just remember my roommate and I turned on the new song and we were both like, "This is Lamb of God."
Yeah, I pretty much have like after Chris got kicked out or left or whatever the hell happened, I've kind of just been like, I'm not really interested in listening to this band anymore.
For me, that's one of those things that I think for Lamb of God, I think a drummer can be replaced. Like,
I mean, I don't disagree.
At least personally.
I don't disagree, but also I'm kind of just Lamb of God out because
true. I can agree. I can feel that.
Every record pretty much since As the Palaces Burn has been a reiteration of the As Palaces Burn, but with better production.
Yeah, I can agree to that. So yeah, the new Lamb of God song was interesting. I actually kind of like the new Machine Heads stuff coming out. I think it's pretty decent.
I thought the first single they released was good, and then the second single was very whiny and annoying.
Was that Unhallowed?
I think so.
I think I liked the first one too. Like, I didn't love it, but it did sound like The Blackening.
Which
is an upgrade compared to what they have been doing. Uh-huh. I really liked the new Megadeth song.
Well,
I've been jamming it a lot lately.
Hold on, because I didn't get to put out a point. That new In Flames song. If people haven't listened to it, if you like Come Clarity era In Flames and like, God, what is it? I think it's like A Sound to Your Escape or A Sense of Purpose. The 2006, 2008 era In Flames. If you like that sound, you'll love that track because that just immediately reminded me of like any Come Clarity era In Flames. I was so happy, and I really hope they're going back to that sound. And again, their last record, I the Mask or whatever, half of it was basically like, oh, they're doing their roots, and then the other half of it was, oh no, it's still regular In Flames. No. And there's nothing wrong with it. They want to change their sound. That's fine. They can do it. I'm not going to get mad. I just miss old In Flames, just like I miss Opeth back when they growled. Make Michael growl again. All right.
He'll never do it.
No, he won't.
He can't growl anymore.
I mean, he does it live, but you were going to talk about Megadeth?
Yeah. I got curious on an ad on the side of Loudwire.
Uh-oh.
Because it doesn't even like
local
it stops after. No. It says this game is so, and I hovered over it and it was like, this game is so beautiful. If you have a computer, it's a must have. I'm like, this seems like it's going to be a porn game because it has a pretty lady as the ad. So out of curiosity, I clicked on it and it's fucking Raid. Like, dang it. They got me.
Now you got to download it.
I refuse. I will never download Raid Shadow Legends.
What if they sponsor us, though?
That's not going to happen.
But what if they did? They sponsor literally.
I don't know. I would have to deal with it when that time came.
Literally every YouTuber is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
They would have to let me be funny during the ad read. They would have to be able to let me poke fun at them a little bit.
Okay. Them and Raycon.
Yeah, screw Raycons too, by the way.
But what if they sponsored us?
I don't. Can you guys make a version of your headphones that have about 10 dB less bass because that's what you keep putting into them? I'm trying to listen to metal here.
Just balance your EQ to match the headphones.
I shouldn't have to do that to get a good and usable sound out of a pair of headphones. I'm not saying extra bass isn't good, by the way. If you like some extra bass in your headphones, that's completely valid. And there are headphones that do it tastefully. But when people make fun of Beats for being bassy, the EQ response on a pair of
Raycons,
whatever that company, Raycons, have triple the amount of bass bump as Beats have.
Also, Beats are still trash, though.
Beats are still trash, but I would rather have a pair of Beats than Raycon.
I'd rather have a pair of Skull Candy than Beats.
I can agree to that. I actually like Skull Candy. I think Skull Candies are decent.
Anyways.
Yeah, the new Megadeth song was actually pretty solid. It's way better than anything that was on Dystopia. It actually sounds really old school. In terms of the distortion, it has like that 80s kind of distortion sound that you would hear on something like Kill 'Em All or I don't know the early Megadeth records, sorry. But it has kind of like that Proco Rat going into a Marshall amp type sound. And I think it's really cool. Dave actually sounds really good. It's still Dave Mustaine, but it's not Sweating Bullets Dave Mustaine. It's it's like Holy Wars Dave Mustaine. It sounds really decent. I recommend checking it out if you have any interest.
Are you telling me Sweating Bullets era Dave Mustaine isn't decent?
I love Sweating Bullets, but not because the vocals are good. Let's put it that way. And I also think Symphony of Destruction is overhyped.
No.
Just in general, because it's the same record. You take a mortal man. I'm like, please, Dave. Just doing that hurt. By the way,
hello me, it's me.
That's not the lyric.
I know it's not.
Hello me, meet the real me. Hello me am me.
I miss working at FedEx with you just because of stupid voice.
I miss being able to just shout really stupid nonsense in funny voices. If I do that now, I would just look insane.
Yeah,
because I'm in my little gremlin editing closet.
You probably also miss guys randomly trying to name metal bands and then they're actually metal bands.
Adam accidentally naming a legitimate cattle decapitation song on accident. Yeah, testicular manslaughter. It exists.
Yeah.
Then there's a band that I've been listening to because I'm thinking about giving them to you at some point called Gaerea.
Oh, I've never even heard of them.
They are black metal, but I know it's something else. It's not just straight black metal, at least in my opinion. I think it's like it's like doomed black metal. They are out of Portugal.
Ooh.
And I think they're really, really good. They just released a song called Salve. They announced a new album that's going to come out later this year. And Salve was very, very heavy. I've only listened to it once so far, so I don't really have
So it's not
specifics.
good is what I heard. Got it.
It just released yesterday.
And you've only listened to it once? What the fuck?
I've been listening to Storm Corrosion, trying to get another episode done.
Yeah, but that's easy listening.
Yeah. Salve is really, really good. I recommend checking out Gaerea. They're pretty solid. I need to actually listen to their
Okay, well, do you want me to check
album.
out Gaerea, or do you want me to leave it alone so you can make me check out Gaerea?
I'm talking in general, but if you do want to listen to that single, like you can listen to that single if you want. It's similar. It's not like they completely changed their sound. So yes, Gaerea had a new single that I checked out. It was pretty good. I can talk about that band later, so I'm actually going to type them in so I don't forget them. Cool. And then the last piece of like metal news I have is Hatebreed's Jamie Josta obtains the right to Milwaukee Metal Fest and, is planning on bringing it back in next year. And apparently the last Milwaukee Metal Fest was in 2007.
Jesus.
So I'm kind of excited because there's a new metal festival that might be returning for like the Midwest type of thing.
Yeah, because now, besides like Mayhem, the only other one we have is Full Metal Assault, I think is what it's called.
There's also Rock on the Range that usually has some metal bands.
Yeah, but that's all the way out in California.
No, Rock on the Range comes to Ohio.
What am I thinking of?
I think you're thinking of Lollapalooza?
No, this one's a rock metal festival. Maybe I'm thinking Aftershock.
Oh, he said Jamie Josta on his podcast, which I actually forget he has a podcast. I think that's where all of the Chris Barnes drama from earlier in the year came out.
It is, now that you said that, yeah.
Apparently he talked with Trevor Strnad about bringing the Milwaukee Metal Fest back.
Oh.
And they were going to curate it together.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, man. But he says he's going to try and relaunch it next year in tribute to Trevor.
Hell yeah. Full Terror Assault. That's what it is. And that's the Midwest.
I haven't even heard that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Midwest version of Wacken.
I've never heard of that. Mm-hmm. You said Full Terror Assault?
I believe so, yeah.
There's a big death metal fest out east, and I forget the name. It might have been like Maryland Death Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a super solid lineup this year. See, and I kind of wanted to go to that.
My problem with Full Terror Assault is I never care about anyone that's actually playing there.
Well, let's see. Oh, it hasn't even happened yet this year. Have they announced bands for this year?
Yes, they should have.
Pig Destroyer. I like Pig Destroyer, but I wouldn't go out of my way to go see them. Suicidal Tendencies, Municipal Waste, Cool. I've heard of Creeping Death. I've heard of Skinless. They're okay.
Isn't Creeping Death just a Metallica cover band?
No, I think the name is just inspired by them.
Okay.
Putrid Pile is decent, but that's getting into slam. Yeah, I feel like Assault is a better known band, or like they're probably thrashy. Grave Ripper, no. Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
And it's been like that every year, because I was excited when I first saw the announcement. It was like, oh my god, a Wacken near me, sign me up, because it's like out in Illinois.
Yeah,
but every time I've seen the lineup, I'm like, I mean, Wacken doesn't always have the best lineups either, but it's also like an experience to like, go to Germany and everything. But I wouldn't go to Wacken if there wasn't like bands that at least like the 5 bands
you were interested in.
Yeah.
Oh, so the first Full Terror Assault, I would have actually kind of wanted to go. You have Obituary and Napalm Death. I'd be more into Napalm Death than Obituary.
But Obituary. Bands
that I know, Terrorizer, I Hate God. I've heard of them. Misery Index. I've actually wanted to. Oh, Murder Construct played there the year. That would have been kind of cool, because that's the other band with Trevor. Or Travis, sorry. Trevor, Travis, Dickie. But literally, those are the only bands I guess I've heard of Green Death, because Anders Kolsefny, who was the original Slipknot vocalist, did a guest spot on one of their songs semi-recently. Death Grip, I'm surprised they're allowed to have that name because of Death Grips.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. I didn't know about that. It's something I'm going to have to like at least keep an eye on for the future. I've heard a couple of these bands, because there's a big fest happening in Michigan that a couple of local bands are actually signed up for. I know the Green Leaves is playing there, I think. And there are like some big bands on that too. Also, like apparently the drummer from Green Leaves left the band, and I'm like, that's kind of sad. I really liked
heard of this band.
You probably wouldn't like them that much. They describe themselves as slambient.
I hate that.
They're not bad. I dig their music well enough. It's the band that O'Hara from Fleshbore is the frontman for. That's where we all knew each other. But now he's doing vocals and drums, and I'm like, okay.
All right, Mastodon.
I'm like, okay, dude. I hope you got it. I feel like that's kind of rough for what you guys do. So yeah, that's cool. I'll have to keep an eye on that. And I only have one thing. Did you have any music news offhand?
No, we pretty much covered everything that I would have said.
Gotcha. And then the only gaming thing that I thought was interesting was that a little more than a year ago, they did a remake of this cult classic game called 13. It was based off a comic book, and it was one of the earlier examples that I know of that did the whole cell shaded graphics look, and it was on the PS2. People seem to really like it. I played it a little bit when I was younger, but my mom, or the disc broke, quotations. My mom didn't like it because it had a lot of cursing. But I believe the plot was, I think you're trying to prevent an assassination attempt on the president. It may have been set around JFK time. I don't remember. But anyway, the game was it was based in the mid 80s, so not really. They the remake was panned when it came out. People hated it. It was not very good. And they decide they're remaking the remake already. So I think that's kind of funny. Hopefully they actually try.
Hopefully.
That must be the publisher. Microids is trying again with a whole new developer. Well, I hope so. When I read the name Microids, I'm like, are they letting the same company try again? That's a bold move. It's like, you guys promise you'll do good this time?
You got this, right?
You got it? And then I guess here in a second we can actually start getting into the
maybe I have
meat
news.
and potatoes. I just asked if you had news.
No, you asked if I have metal news.
Oh, do you have gaming news?
I do.
Mm.
Basically, a bunch of games that were like pretty much like dead silent in development spoke up recently, and we're getting a bunch of really cool games, some of them pretty soon. So what I mean by dead silent is like they had an announcement trailer, or they were like kickstarted and then silent forever. One of them was Scorn, which is this H.R. Geiger-esque first-person shooter that like they want you to understand it's not, while there is shooting elements, that's not really the point of the game. Because killing things is bad, but sometimes you have to. My understanding is there's like this, you're in this horrible hellscape biomechanical ship thing. And
Alien.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I mean, like I said, H.R. Geiger.
H.R. Geiger, yeah.
But there is like this massive organism that's asleep underneath and wants to be left alone. And as you like kill the creatures that it spawns, it gets pissed off and eventually will start trying to hunt you down.
Oh.
That's my understanding. They've like very like carefully kind of like been like, hey, like we're not really going to explain what this game's about.
First person biopunk survival horror adventure game.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember hearing about Scorn.
Scorn's been in development since like 2013. Like I was in high school.
It was announced in 2014.
Okay, I was in college.
I remember it because Northern Lion used to do a video game podcast with a few other YouTubers named the Roundtable Podcast. I vaguely remember them talking about it at one point, and I think it was announced around the same time as that one game that came out. I think it was called Agony.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were announced very similar, and you're like, I was like, oh, cool, 2 gross games, and then Agony did terribly, and
Agony was apparently trash,
and Scorn was never happened, but it's coming out this October.
Oh no, Agony was first announced in 2016.
Oh, really?
There was another game then, because I remember there was a game where the entire world was made out of like flesh
and bone, and it took place in hell. Then there's the Atomic Heart, which is like this really cool Bioshock.
Yeah. I think you've talked about that on the show before.
Yeah. Callisto Protocol wasn't as like subject to this, but when they first announced Callisto Protocol, which is the game that's made by the like Dead Space co-creator, but is not working with Visceral or what used to be Visceral, it went silent after the first trailer, and like we didn't hear anything. It's looking pretty good. It looks like more Dead Space. They're making claims that it's going to be somehow gorier than Dead Space. Don't even know how that's freaking possible. And I think they said it's focused on melee combat a lot. Like there are guns, but you're going to be using melee more, which wasn't really a thing in Dead Space. Like you could punch and stomp, but those were more for like you freaking out or trying to get some distance. So Callisto Protocol and of course the Dead Space remake. And then one that I actually thought had completely died. Like I remember reading a news article that they were like, yeah, we're canceling this. The System Shock reboot.
Yeah, are we talking the reboot or the fan-made remake?
No, the reboot.
Oh, because I know we talked about the remake before. I didn't realize there was legitimately a reboot coming out.
Yep, I believe it's the first System Shock game. And they announced it, and it looked really good. And then I swear to God, they were like, hey, due to like COVID and everything, we can't do this anymore. This is dead. And then at the like Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, one of those, they were like, hey, System Shock trailer. And I was like, what? It's coming back? I never played System Shock or System Shock 2. And I'm going to be honest, they are really hard to go back to.
Yes, I've heard that, especially the first one, but I've heard that System Shock 2, it's one of those, like, if you mess up, like, leveling up your character, you're screwed. You're going to get stuck and you can't really progress.
There's that, but it's
like
also, like, graphics and the way it controls just don't feel good compared to, like, what modern gaming is now. Like,
yes,
I don't think graphics make a, big impression, but the fact of the matter is, like, I'm sorry, graphics do, like, have a thing, and, like, I can go back and
they are important to an extent.
Yeah, like, I can go back and play Quake 2, and I don't really have a problem, but also there are things like the Quake 2 RTX that you can do, and, like, Doom, but there's something about that style that feels very different to, like, going back to, like, some, like, System Shock or the original Deus Ex, and they just, or even, like, Half-Life. Like, I played Half-Life probably while I was in high school or early college, and
like Half-Life 1.
Yes, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't look that great.
Yeah,
I did the same thing with Time Shift.
But Time Shift is more modern.
It is, but
like,
it feels a lot like the Half-Life games, and I'm just like, eh.
Interesting. They actually there was a remake of the first Half-Life. I think it was fan made called Black Mesa.
Yeah, I know all about Black Mesa.
Mm-hmm. I've never played Half-Life 2.
It's all right.
I've heard it's one of those I feel like it's one of those games that everyone should play at some point.
Yeah, sure.
Just because of, like, how, ubiquitous it is, and it's just the meme of we're never going to get Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
I would really like a Left 4 Dead 3 or a Portal 3 though.
You got Left 4 Dead 3. It's called Back for Blood, and it was really bad.
Yeah, but that game sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I completely forgot. I thought, is there another System Shock thing being worked on that isn't this reboot? Because I could have sworn I brought it up on an episode.
I'm pretty sure there's a System Shock 2 mod that's like a graphical and control update. Like, it's
maybe that's what I'm talking about.
The publishers were like, we want to use this mod because it's like really helpful in their work. It was something along those lines. It might have been for the original one, but everyone was worried, like, oh, they're working on the System Shock reboot. They're going to probably, like, sue this guy because they were like, no, we would actually like to use this if we're allowed to.
Yeah, because some people are cool, Nintendo.
Yeah, come on, Nintendo.
Some people are really, really cool, Nintendo.
Some people, like Bethesda, even hire their modders.
Yeah, see, I thought that Fallout London thing was like a legit Bethesda product, but no, apparently it's fan-made.
Yep.
And they're hiring some of the modders, which I think is always cool to see.
Yeah, there's a couple of instances of that. Crytek, when the first Crysis came out, there was a really cool mod called MechWarrior Living Legends, because MechWarrior had been a dead game for very long. This was before MechWarrior Online or MechWarrior 5 came out. And it was a really good mod. And Crytek was like, these guys are doing things with our engine that we didn't even know we could do. We're hiring them. And I think like 2 of the people from that mod studio went to work for Crytek. And then there's my favorite story of there was somebody who made like a Warhammer 40K, like amazing fan animation called Astartes.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And he got hired on to work for Games Workshop as their animator. And like, holy shit, that's amazing. He deserves it 100%. So, but yeah, it's shit like that.
Apparently there's a free demo of the System Shock remake.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it was alongside the Kickstarter campaign.
Oh.
So that's actually pretty old at this point.
Yeah.
Interesting. Were there any other games? Because I remember, because I just realized that they apparently released an update for Skate 4.
Wait, did Skate 4 come out? I thought we were still on Skate 3.
I mean an update as to the production of Skate
4. Yeah, I mean, I got more stuff, but you can go ahead and interrupt me with that.
No, you can go ahead. I was curious. I didn't know what all you were going to mention or not.
In terms of those games, that's it. I just have other gaming news.
Okay, gotcha. Apparently, who owns Skate? Is it EA or Ubisoft?
It's one EA. Of those.
I think the production team said, we're trying. That's kind of it. I'm like, oh, take your time, guys. It's fine. I
Skate
still
3
want to play
still
the.
it exists.
Yeah, sure. Skate 3 exists. It's broken, which is why it's very fun, but it's broken. They canceled the next Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake.
Oh yeah, the 3 and 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of bummed out about that.
Apparently a lot of people are, but to be fair, I only played the first Pro Skater.
I played 1 and 2. I may have played 4. There was one that you could play as Django Fett. And my cousin and I would just keep doing the jetpack move and see how far into the sky we could get before we got tired and couldn't keep doing the combo. It was very funny. And then I feel like there was one more thing about an update for a video game. And I don't remember.
Rough.
There is a Nemesis. There's a board game called Nemesis. I know I've talked to your ear off about it, and I won't go into super detail, but if anybody here has ever played the game Nemesis, the board game Nemesis, it's very, very fun. They are making a digital version of the second game, which is Nemesis Lockdown, which I have bought. It's in early access, but I don't think they have a tutorial for it yet, which is not good with how complicated Nemesis is. And then they're coming out with another game that seems like an actual FPS. And I think that comes out either this month or it came out last month. I need to look at it. But it's kind of cool that they're making more games that can be like Alien, but not.
Yeah.
I guess they did announce a new Alien game. It looks like it's an XCOM type thing where it's like a top-down squad shooter.
Look, let's all be honest. We don't want any other Alien game except Isolation 2.
I would love an Isolation 2. But I'm also kind of cool with, because it looked a lot like it was kind of like a spiritual successor to AVP Extinction on the PS2. And that game is really cool, but it wasn't really fleshed out. And then I heard Alien Fireteam Elite or whatever it's called was
garbage.
Just okay. I heard it was okay.
It was no Colonial Marines, that's for sure.
That is very true. I wonder if there's any work on fan-made mods for Colonial Marines these days.
No, there is. Somebody made a mod that actually fixed a lot of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it's just an average game instead of a really bad one.
No, let me finish.
Oh God.
And then the studio who made it, not the mod, but the game, patched it and killed the mod and everything the mod fixed. And then the modder then was like, okay. And then he remodded it for the new patch.
Yeah, I pre-ordered Colonial Marines.
I really thought it looked cool, but I luckily did not.
Well, I remember I pre-ordered it like before any footage came out. I was a Game Informer subscriber kid.
Oh, same.
I remember the Alien Colonial Marines issue of Game Informer, and I loved Alien back then. I thought it, and I still do. It's a great movie.
Oh yeah,
and Aliens. And I was like, this seems so cool. I'm so excited for it. They're talking about like you can. In my mind, they were basically describing Alien Isolation with some of the features they could do. It's like you can close doors behind you and like solder it closed. And, you're trying to survive. And they kind of described it as a survival horror game.
And then it became a really bad Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really Left 4 Dead. It was just a bad COD.
Yeah. Well, I meant more just hordes of aliens coming at you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And it turns out most of the issues was because there was a comma where there shouldn't have been.
It was like a single, it was a single like digit typo.
Literal one, a typo that fixed everything.
Yeah. It made the AI better by getting rid of it. It still wasn't great, but they didn't do like half of the things of like just like running up to you and then standing still and then you could just like blast their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So other news, rumors, maybe try not to get my hopes up. Metroid Prime remake this December.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping. I will buy a Switch either when Prime 4 comes out or they announce a Prime 1, 2, 3, or even just Prime.
I think
Uh-huh.
they basically just took the team that was working on 4 and told them to start remaking 1 instead.
Don't do that to me. Don't.
I think 4 is
Shut your whore mouth.
dead.
Ethan, shut up.
4 is going the way of
nope. They said
Duke,
no. They
Nukem,
said on
forever.
Dread. They said when they announced Dread that they were still working on Prime 4.
Mm-hmm. How many console generations has this been through now?
Prime 4 has always been Switch.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they announced it for the Wii.
No.
Or the Wii U.
No, it's Switch.
Oh.
It was only announced like 2017, I think.
I thought it was way earlier than that.
No. I mean, let me double check. I know it was for the Switch. Let me double check when they announced it. But I was living with my sister when they got announced. Because I didn't watch Nintendo Directs prior to the Switch. Yeah, E3 2017.
Huh. All right, well, never mind.
I would guess I wasn't living with my sister. Because I must have just been hanging out with her at the time. Because I moved in with her in 2018. So yeah, maybe the Prime stuff. I don't know. They could have taken like a small team from Retro. Or they could just have given it to somebody else. Because all they're having to do is update graphics and, controls and everything to the Switch. They're not having to like remake an entire game.
Right.
From the ground up. They got the architecture there. They just have to follow it and make it better. But who knows? That's just a rumor. What was the other gaming news?
That's just a theory.
Now shut up. Feel like I had another one. Oh, yeah. People are making Doom run on more things. It makes me happy. One of them was a McDonald's order kiosk. Just Doom on a McDonald's order kiosk.
Hell yeah.
And then the other one was literally a Lego brick. They made a tiny little LCD Lego computer.
Haven't they done like play Doom in Minecraft?
Sure, yeah.
Or something?
Yeah.
Or like play Doom in another game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100% they have. I mean, if you want to really get technical, you can play Doom in Doom 2016.
Yeah, but that's officially supported.
That's fair. I think my favorite one is playing it on two of them are my favorites. One of them is playing it on a pregnancy test.
I was about to ask if that one was real or a meme.
No, it's real. Playing it in a car that wasn't a Tesla, and the guy modded the controls to the actual car itself. I think like the gear shift changed weapons, honking shot the gun. To move forward, you had to use the gas pedal. Steering was your aiming.
That's weird.
And then
that's cool.
Pregnancy test, and then what was the other one that like made me have a good chuckle? Oh no, I forgot because I mentioned the car. Oh, I think they're called like oscilloscopes or whatever. The ones that like make graphs based on like sound. And like,
oh yeah,
and like you can even make them make 3D images if you like have a bunch of frequencies going. Yeah, somebody designed an oscilloscope to be able to play Doom.
It's funny because oscilloscopes were some of the first things they like created games on.
Yeah, so
it's like table for two, I think is what it was, or table tennis for two, I think is what it was called. It was like one of the first games they ever made, and yeah, that's cool. That's like a throwback. One of my it's officially supported, so it's not quite in the same genre, but you can play Doom on a TI-89 calculator.
Yep.
And I like the Linus video where they overclock their calculator.
That's
to play
fantastic.
Doom faster. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Somebody played Doom on a graphing calculator powered by potatoes.
I remember that too.
I still love my...
I finally watched the video of can you beat Doom Eternal using the Power Glove?
Can you?
The answer is almost, but
Damn.
he used cheats at one point. It's a funny video. I'll send it to you.
Hey, those cheats are built into the game. It still counts.
That's true. I think for like one of the final boss fights, he turned on infinite ammo. But he didn't spam the BFG. He only allowed himself to use like the BFG for one of the health bars.
Gotcha.
It's a funny video. You should watch it.
I still
otherwise,
love it.
I don't have a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done after this. I do love the guy that plays Dark Souls and Elden Ring and a bunch of other things with horrible controllers.
Yeah, he's been doing that for a long time, though, hasn't
he has. I can't remember what he did with Elden Ring, but I remember reading it, and I was like, why is this man? I mean, he's played it with bananas and pizza.
I remember.
And Donkey Kong bongos.
I do remember the Donkey Kong bongos.
My favorite is still the Ring Fit, playing Dark Souls 3 with a Ring Fit.
The Ring Fit?
It's the exercise controller for the Switch. You have it's like a flexible ring that you put one Joy-Con in, and then you have a strap that goes on your thigh that you put the other Joy-Con in. And so for him to do any movement, he has to run in place.
Seems
he was very
chaotic.
He was very sweaty at the end.
I would have given up just immediately. Just like, nope. I have to do cardio? Nah. I guess I do have this one thing. You can just say agree or disagree. The headline is the biggest heavy band of all time.
Who was it?
The biggest heavy band of all time. This is a Loudwire article. Linkin Park.
Oh man, they're so fucking heavy. And so big. So big and heavy. They're big. I'll give them that. Heavy.
Yeah. I mean, but they also name, like, they were labeled as nu metal, which puts them in the same categories as Slipknot, Korn, Limp Bizkit. I think Slipknot is maybe not bigger than
on par with Linkin Park.
On par, but they are definitely heavier.
Somebody played Elden Ring with a Fisher-Price game controller.
I love it.
It might be the same guy.
I would imagine it's the same guy.
Yeah. Is it the guy I think it is? No, it's not, actually. Huh.
I guess Hybrid Theory is 74-time platinum, which is like the big nu metal or the big Linkin Park record.
Huh.
Oh, heck yeah. Top 50 nu metal albums of all time.
Ooh. Hey, didn't you want to react to that Alyssa White Gluz?
Yeah, because Glasgow was their last singer.
Yeah.
Or Glasgow was the last singer. We can do that, honestly. Like, we could do that as like a bonus episode, maybe.
Sure.
That I can release because this is going to go long enough. And I also have a thing that you could react to too. Or it's like a quiz type thing that I found today.
Oh, good. He's the guy I was thinking of. He's played at least some Elden Ring bosses with the Ring Fit controller. This man hates his life.
So does the guy I was talking about. I think his name is Senzo.
Oh, and he's beaten Elden Ring with a guitar controller.
I do remember that. Machine Head had a nu metal phase?
Yeah. It was after
it
was after their thrash metal phase.
I guess they label The Burning Red by Machine Head as the 38th best nu metal album of all time.
It's not terrible.
I subjected myself, because it just mainly popped up while I was scrolling through videos on Facebook, to that song that Limp Bizkit put out initially before they dropped like that record. I think it was called Dad Vibes.
Oh yeah.
It's a Linkin Park. I mean, it's a
Linkin Park
song.
Ah, yes, it's Linkin Park and their very famous hot dog water and chocolate starfish.
It's chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Whatever.
The song, it was standard Limp Bizkit, but the music video was actually kind of funny, so I'll give them that. And Fred Durst, he's got some moves. He dances really well in that video. I wonder if he just knows how to dance, or if he like learned stupid dances for that video specifically. I feel like he already knew how to dance. But it was a fun, stupid song. I can't get mad at people for putting out like some fun music. Disturbed's 10,000 Fists is dedicated to Dimebag?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting.
Like the song or the entire album?
The record is what Loudwire says.
Huh. Okay.
Dedicated to the legend himself, Dimebag Darrell, 10,000 Fists, a guitar solo boasting slap in the face to any fans who have been doubting Disturbed's following Steve Kamack's dismissal in 2003.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that guy.
I don't even know who that is.
It doesn't matter. If I remember correctly, according to the Disturbed documentary, he was a huge jerk.
There's a Disturbed documentary?
Yeah, I was still a huge Disturbed fan. Leave me alone.
I watched most of the Cannibal Corpse documentary that they released like 15 years ago. It was interesting.
Did they paint Chris Barnes as a terrible person?
No, actually. I mean, they actually had him.
Then it's an inaccurate documentary then.
It was, well, this is before he kind of turned into a major jerk.
Nah, he's always been garbage.
He's been a jerk, but like, you know, they brought everybody in to talk about each album cycle. And it was really interesting to like learn about the earliest days of Cannibal Corpse. Apparently, one of their original guitarists, when they were like, he's not really keeping up with what we're wanting to do.
Yep.
When they released him, he just quit music altogettle.
Yep. And I remember hearing about this.
And I'm like, that's kind of a bummer, man. I mean, I get it, I guess.
But,
they said they
Tosin
have not
Obasi
heard
makes
from him.
me want to quit all the time.
Yeah, but that's not exactly the same.
It's 100% the same. Have you watched the Tosin Obasi video?
Yes, I've seen the Tosin Obasi video.
As much as I would like to continue this, I'm really hankering for some meat and potatoes, honestly.
Okay, I'm just scrolling through. What's the number one album? I disagree that it is Korn's self-titled album as the top nu metal record of all time. Or maybe, I guess. I don't know.
It's not like
they have Iowa as number 4.
It's not like we're really big into nu metal, to be fair.
Yeah, but they have Toxicity at number 2. I would have put Toxicity at number 1. But there's like 4 different Deftones entries, and I hate Deftones so much. Okay, let's get into some meat and potatoes then. As soon as I crack my back. Ow! Pain.
I love that 3 Days Grace song.
It's a good song. You know, that's the first album I ever bought.
Yes, you have said that before.
Oh, well, it's fuck me then, I guess.
No, thank you.
Why not, Mitch? We could be compatible.
You ain't my type.
You don't know that.
We both got flexibility issues. It ain't happening. That's not a game.
It would be impossible. It would be impossible.
That's not a game of Tetris that I'm willing to play. I got a heart condition.
The doctor recommends I stay away from sex entirely.
I actually would not be surprised if he was like, I think the only reason he hasn't said that is just because I'm like, yeah, I don't get laid.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry.
That's fine, but I mean, let's be honest here. I like walk like a quarter of a mile from the parking lot to my job, and my heart rate hits like 140. Shit, man. I'm meat and potatoes, please, sir. I'm starving.
No, I was about to transition. What'd you listen to?
Not what you gave me, because why would I fucking do that?
It would be a funny joke if you didn't actually do that once.
Hey, at least the album I listened to was good. And it was right
but
band.
I didn't well, that is true.
Because
if you came back, it's like,
to be fair, there's a lot of Devin Townsend bands. I could have picked
that is
any
true,
of them.
But the problem is, Strapping Young Lad cannot be confused with the Devin Townsend Project or the Devin Townsend Band or the Devin Townsend. Just like,
and I still listen to your garbage album. It wasn't as good as the one I picked. Anyways, so I listened to Job for a Cowboy, Sun Eater. I also listened to the fucking deathcore song.
Yes, so I had him listen to one of their earlier songs as well, back when they were still deathcore. Entombment of a Machine. I just typed in Job for a Cowboy.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Which, by the way, Entombment of a Machine is a pretty killer ass song title. Like, not going.
It is a good song title. I think it's pretty cool. It's I'm pretty sure that song is a meme. It's the preheat pizza rolls, preheat almost done. Yeah.
Which it was a fine song, but it was deathcore, and I don't tend to like deathcore. Though we have been finding out that just like death metal, if you give me subgenres of deathcore, I might be a little bit more open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
because like Shadow of Intent and bands that I haven't given you yet, like Chokrin and Slice the Cake, which are both progressive deathcore.
I've listened to a little bit of Slice the Cake. Definitely not enough to say, oh, I've listened to most of an album.
So yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the deathcore version of Job for a Cowboy. However, Sun Eater is like progressive / technical death metal.
I'd say prog more over than tech.
I would say that, but there are techie parts that, and like the bass tone.
Bass tone is fantastic.
And it's very technical death metal sound. It almost sounds like he's using a fretless 6.
I think he definitely would be.
So
there are people that I know. I'm looking on the album's Metallum page, and like there are some producers and stuff that I actually know the names of that worked on this record. I didn't know that. So like Eyal Levy.
I've listened. Okay, to be full honest, I didn't listen to this album until... No, I'm kidding. But I didn't listen to this album. I didn't listen to this album a lot. I did listen to it like a day or two after you gave me, but then we went like radio silent for 2-3 weeks. Honestly, that's going to be a part of my review, because here's the thing. It didn't really grab me. Like, it's not a bad album. It's not. I didn't hate it, but there was nothing that made me go like getting the like disgusted face, or nothing really reached out and grabbed me. And I was like, ooh, that's really cool. I was just like, this just sounds like a Black Crown Initiate album, which is funny because I think this album came out before a lot of the Black Crown Initiate stuff.
Came out in 2014, November 11th.
I can't remember when Black Crown Initiate was a thing, because they only have 3 albums, I believe. They had an EP in 2012, but their first album came out in 2014, it looks like. So, but there just wasn't much here. It was one of those things where I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like, if you put this... If you were doing like a road trip and you were like, I'm going to put Sun Eater on, I wouldn't fight you about it.
I wouldn't put Sun Eater on.
I know you wouldn't. You don't personally
because you remember,
like this.
I did not like this record that much. I thought you would dig it more than me, just because it is prog. Because a lot of people really like this album.
It's not a bad album, but there are other bands that do this sound already, and I think it sounds better. I also am not a huge fan of the vocals. He still really has like a lot of the death core tendencies in the vocals, which I'm not big on deathcore vocals. That's one of my hangups. There's like 2 hangups I have with deathcore. The simplicity that can happen in the instrumentation, especially during breakdowns. Yes, I know that's how a breakdown is. That's why I don't really listen to songs that have breakdowns.
I don't know if I agree with the vocal standpoint. Give me a second. You can keep talking. I'm gonna
it's turn on especially in the first song, and it's more in the like higher range stuff that he does.
Oh yeah. So specifically eating the visions of God.
Yeah. He does it a couple of other times in other songs on that album, but it's more like the higher range stuff. Like the low stuff is fine. It sounds like a, most like deathcore vocalist, but not in a bad way.
His voice, I think, definitely evolved from the Doom EP or the Gloom or whatever the one that Entombment is on. I guess I kind of hear what you mean. You're going to kind of hate me here. I just want to re-listen to this real quick.
I'm wondering.
Go back to your highs.
I wonder if it's going to be the same exact opinion I have.
Honestly, I think the highs, at least at like a minute in, it kind of sounds like if Thomas Lindberg on the new Ist at the Gates record actually had distortion on what he was doing.
No, when I heard the highs, I'm like, this just sounds like Thomas Lindberg, but I don't like him.
Except the distortion is actually there.
Yeah. And for some reason I don't like it. It's like
I think it sounds good. Like I don't hate those highs, but it has that same timbre. Yeah. It has that like the type thing.
Wow.
A lot of people, to be fair,
really
most
good Thomas Lindberg there.
Huh?
I said really good Thomas Lindberg there.
Oh, like what I just did?
Yeah.
That's surprising. I've never actually like successfully done that before. but he definitely has more grit. Like he has more support behind his highs.
You just hear that like timber. But yeah, I remember hearing that this morning. I was like, oh, it's out the gates, but it's not what it kind of is.
Now, to be fair, I think a lot of people like this album when it comes to they don't really focus on the vocals all that much. A lot of people love the bass on this record.
The bass is awesome. The instrumentation in general is great. Like I was saying, my main hang up on it is just nothing's reaching out and grabbing me. And
I can agree.
That might just be a personal taste thing. It's not a bad record. It's mixed pretty well. Mm-hmm. Everything sounds good.
Like when I turned on Eating the Visions of God at the very beginning, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like it's a very smooth sounding album. Like the dun 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 dun. Yep. Like the chord progressions, I like them, but I think as your list, like it's a how long is this record? It's a 45-minute album. And I can agree that it doesn't stand out a ton. The only song I really remember is Son of Nihilism. Nihility.
I'll have to look at
that's the first single they put out, and that's the one where the bass is really up front. But I see where you're coming from, and I had the same thoughts.
So
for me, it's kind of at that point where it's at a 5, just a straight.
Yeah, I was going to like say 5, maybe 6 because of instrumentation.
Oh, okay. You might like then, like there are songs off of Demonocracy, the album just before this one, where it's a bit more, it's kind of death metal-y. It doesn't really have that prog sense to it, so it's a bit more aggressive. I know the song Tarnished Gluttony, but I was trying to think of the song Constitutional Masturbation.
Beautiful name.
It's, yeah, the title is kind of but where is the... I want to know what album it is. If you have more thoughts, keep going. I'm just trying to find this.
Yeah, and so, like, I think the reason I didn't really, like, go back and pick it up a couple of times was literally just because I physically remember being like, when I heard it the first time. Mm-hmm. I don't think I finished it the very first time I listened to it. I think it was like the last song was the only one I didn't listen to. But yeah, I just every time I went back,
I was pretty bored too.
Yeah. So it's like a solid 5 or 6, but there's definitely people out there that are going to enjoy this more. But I think Beyond Creation and Black Crown Initiate does a better version of this sound.
I don't really like Black Crown Initiate personally.
Have you actually gone and listened to like an album?
Not a full one. I've listened to like some singles from their most recent stuff, and we played with them.
I know you played with them,
and I think I left around when they first started, or maybe I wanted to catch Inferi, so I think I left when they started, when they kind of like during their first or second song, and I was like, not for me, and I'm also very angry at my bandmates at the time, so I'm going to leave.
I wonder if like how much of that like bitterness plays into how you feel about them too.
Could be, I suppose. It was my last show with Fleshbore.
Yeah.
But I don't have any issues with the other bands or anything.
That's fair.
I just remember the songs I listened to. I was just like, I think it was something about a cow was in the title. Hold on. Black Crown Initiate. Okay, yeah, I have no idea what song is what I listened to. I thought there was like some weird black and gold motif on might have been like the YouTube video. But
maybe.
I don't remember. Sorry.
Yep.
I keep interrupting again.
But, yeah, so it's, what?
Sorry, it was Song of the Crippled Bull.
Oh, that's
which is off their very first EP.
Yeah, so fuck that. I've never even listened to that one. I think Selves We Cannot Forgive is a fantastic album.
I might have to check it sometime.
I might give it to you sometime. Who knows? But yeah, it's fine. It's a fine album. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. That's the thing. I'll go back and re-listen to the ones I hate. I can't remember how many times I listened to Disco Volante just to like validate my feelings.
Like recently or just for the episode?
Just for the episode. God, no. Any of the records that I absolutely hated, I have not gone back. And then, of course, we got things like Archspire and everything where though with Archspire, I didn't buy the record, but I bought the one that came out after.
Yeah, Golden Mouth of Ruin. Golden Mouth was a great record.
Oh my God. If you had given me that one versus the one you gave me, I probably would have fell in love with them even faster. But it wasn't out yet, so you couldn't. Yeah, it's I wish I could say more, but that's the problem with things where I don't absolutely adore it or I don't absolutely hate it. There's just not much to say. It's like a solid 5, maybe 6. Like I said, some people are going to enjoy it more than others, as is how everything goes in life. Review done. Unless Ethan wants to say something.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're not against trying other songs by them, I recommend Tarnished Gluttony and Constitutional Masturbation. It's a bit more... It's good. I like that sound a bit more than anything off of Sun Eater, but I have not listened to those albums, so I can't say one or the other. But it's a bit more death metal instead of prog. I still think it has musicality in it, so it's not like old school death metal or anything like that. Cool. I mean, so it was one of those albums I didn't think you were going to hate it by any means. I still think you probably liked it a little bit more than I did because I'm just like, it's fine. I'm probably never going to listen to it again.
I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at right now, but you're probably right. I probably enjoyed it a bit more. But
like,
Ethan,
I might turn on Son of can't pronounce it. The second song of the album.
Nihility.
Nihility. Nile needs a new bass player and vocalist.
Ethan, are you sick of Steven Wilson yet?
I am a little sick of Steven Wilson. I was going to say, please don't give me Porcupine Tree. But I won't be able to handle it.
but Porcupine
They actually just came out with a new record.
They did, and people, I saw some of the reviews, and people were like, if you like Porcupine Tree, you'll like this, but don't expect new ground.
Okay, fair enough. So this is Storm Corrosion, the album I was given. This is a album composed of Steven Wilson and Michael Ockerfeldt of Opeth.
It was a love shot. Oh, wait, before you get into it, the way that they've like described doing this album, they were literally just like buying bottles of wine and getting drunk and writing it. They just they were literally just hanging out and was like, we should make an album.
Okay. So this is labeled on Metallum as progressive experimental rock / folk. I kind of describe it as, I mean, I guess it would be around there. It's an interesting album. It's a lot different than Hand Cannot Erase. Out of the two, I think I do enjoy Hand Cannot Erase a little bit more as an album. And I'm saying that because a lot of Storm Corrosion, it's a self-titled record, kind of just blends together for me. Nothing is bad by any means, but it is very hard for me to pick out moments. I was originally going to describe this as an album of moments, but then I realized I can't really name any moments other than, like, I had a screenshot for a few things. So the thing in Drag Ropes, it's that 5 minutes in where they start repeating the words. Like, that's really catchy. I do like that segment. I don't know the lyrics, but that part, I do like it. I think the record has a lot of cool musicality and really interesting layering. It has this creepy vibe.
Oh my God,
that kind of permeates.
Fucking creepy. Up? It's so fucking creepy and makes you uneasy.
I actually don't. I was not uneasy at all through the record. I was actually relaxed through most of it.
Drag Ropes makes me uncomfortable, and the song Storm Corrosion, when it gets to after the acoustic part and it gets into like the atmospheric like darkness,
I could agree. I could agree to that. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what are they saying in that part?
Something manifold.
Lies are manifold, and the truth can now be told.
That's what it is. Yeah,
it's a very good section, and that's probably my favorite part of the album.
And like, it's nice. Like vocal layering on that part is really nice too, because like Steven is like doing the higher range, and then Michael is just going down the scale in a really bassy tone.
That is something I commented to Mitch about before we started. It was hard for me to pick out where Michael was on this album. It's very similar to when I first listened to Blackwater Park, I didn't know Steven Wilson was a guest on the song he's on.
And it doesn't,
because they have a very similar, voice.
Yeah. Oh, especially when like we're talking about the higher range stuff. Because like Steven definitely has a higher singing voice than what Michael normally gravitates towards. Mm-hmm. But Michael will go into that higher range. And when they do, you're just like, oh, it also doesn't help that they don't be like, they don't on the songs that Steven Wilson's on be like featuring Steven Wilson.
Yes. And they don't do that on here either, but they are both in the band. So it makes sense. And then Michael is also on the last song, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce. He's doing like this falsetto part, which I forgot was there. I don't even remember there being a falsetto part.
Which is funny because it's the very beginning.
Yeah, it's it has a 30-second build up. It's like I listened to the album like 2 or 3 times in the past couple of days, and I didn't really write many notes. I screenshot my screen when something interesting is happening that I wanted to make a point of. So when it came to the last song, it was legitimately just 30 seconds in when things started going. It's good. The album is fun. Maybe not fun's probably not the best word. I guess the best way that I can put it is it sounds like a very good album to have in the background. It sounds like it could be a short film soundtrack, and it would do very well at doing that. Because it's unobtrusive. I don't think it has a lot of parts that like punch you in the face. This is not a metal album whatsoever. The biggest part go ahead.
I wonder if you noticed this. There's only one track that has drums on it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. There's no drums in anything.
Is it Lock Howl?
I can't remember what the track is.
It's the only song that's an instrumental. I screenshot a part from Lock Howl. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, I liked that part too. There's a clapping part in Lock Howl where they use a lot of group clapping as part of the percussion side of things. And I think it's an Egyptian scale. Type thing. I don't know if it's Egyptian or not, but I like the scale they're using there. Ultimately, I think this album it's kind of just there. I liked it more than I disliked it. It's just not one that I could focus on all that much. It was very, very, as soon as I started, it's a good album to zone out to.
I can see that.
I guess is a good word, because a lot of the times now,
make your mind like relax
a little. Yeah, I could see that. I turned it on and I started playing Slay the Spire yesterday on PlayStation because they have the Spotify app. And I was just like, I'm going to turn on Storm Corrosion. I'm going to turn off all of the sound in the game and I'm just going to vibe. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. I would probably give it like a 6.5 or a 7. It's not an album that I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's, doesn't do anything for me one way or the other. It's there are parts I enjoy, and there isn't really anything I can say other than maybe some of the songs kind of overstay their welcome. But I only feel that in the 10-minute long songs like Ludet Inan and Storm Corrosion. It's certainly not the worst thing you've ever given me. It's I liked Hand Cannot Erase a lot more in my journey with Steven Wilson. I just think that definitely has more variance as an album, and I liked the music of that more than I did with Storm Corrosion. It's definitely just a completely different vibe between those two records. But it certainly wasn't bad. I appreciate the listen because I've heard of Storm Corrosion before. I've seen interviews with Michael where he's like, yeah, maybe Storm Corrosion will do something else in the future, but I doubt it. But if they did, I'd listen to another Storm Corrosion record. Easy.
All right. That's about what I figured. I was worried that maybe like the more experimental parts you weren't going to super dig. Which I don't know why, because Disco Volante.
Yeah, I turned on some of Disco Volante a couple of weeks back. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not in the mood for this right now.
Me
because
all the
I think my
time.
roommate,
Me all the time.
Well, I turned on. We were talking about Mr. Bungle here at the house, and I think he saw the title for the Desert Search for Techno Allah. I'm like, all right, I'll turn on that song on the Amazon wiretap, and I still like that song, but it's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, it's a bit too chaotic for my brain right now because I played Platypus too. The platypus or whatever he does. I'm like, Mike,
please.
what are you doing?
Please
Mike.
stop.
I still like Mike Patton. I love Mike Patton a lot. Yeah, Storm Corrosion. It's not my favorite thing you've ever given me, but I would probably listen to it over, Letters from the Colony or something like that. I did revisit Letters from the Colony recently, by the way.
Oh, good joy. Has your opinion updated? Do you now recognize the brilliance that they are?
No, I listened to it. I'm like, yep, this is about what I remember. It's not bad, but it's just not my shtick. And then, because I think I was showing my roommate some of them, and then some of Sanzu.
Ah, Sanzu is so good. I can't wait for that new album.
I enjoy Sanzu. I'm looking forward to their record. Yeah. So.
But
yeah, I'm giving Storm Corrosion like a 6.5, light 7.
Yeah, I'll take that. Like I did like what you said, that it's kind of like a brain relax cleanser kind of thing, and I will agree. Mm-hmm. There are like certain parts that make me a little like, but for the most part, yeah, it's one of those things where you can kind of just like veg out or like have something else going on, which is how I feel about Mirror Reaper. But there are other things I feel about Mirror Reaper as well. But we don't need to get into that because I don't think there's ever been an episode where I don't mention how good Mirror Reaper is.
I should re-listen to Mirror Reaper.
Yes, you should.
Point. I'm not going to now.
Oh, it's fine. There's another Bell Witch record for me to give you, and they're working on a new one.
Yes. So, yeah. I mean, what have you been up to? Have you been doing any music experimentation? I actually did listen to a fresh release from an avant-garde black metal band.
Oh.
Listened to the whole thing.
How'd that go?
It's an album. Have you heard of the band? They've been around since the 90s, apparently. It's a band called Blutausnord. Blutausnord.
Maybe, but
French.
Well, yeah, it's avant-garde black metal. I know where it's from.
I know it's from France, Ethan.
Like, one of the best, worst bands came out of France that was avant-garde black metal. Can you remember their name, Ethan?
One of the best, worst bands?
Best in terms of they sound really good, worst, they're terrible people.
Oh. Yeah, is that Moonspell?
No, that's Deathspell Omega.
Deathspell, whatever.
No, Moonspell is Portuguese, like gothic metal, my man.
Well, I listened to their most recent album called Disharmonium: Undreamable Abysses.
I mean, that's a name.
Does that give you any like input of like that name, Disharmonium, Undreamable Abysses? Does that give any images to your mind?
I mean, it just sounds like a faster version of like Mirror Reaper, where it's just a fuck ton of atmosphere and then maybe some really distant screaming.
Yeah, that's a good.
I know what
guess.
Atmospheric black metal sounds like.
This album is like if you took the concept of
or like Abigail Williams, but like something
what's
heavier.
His name? H.P. Lovecraft. If you took Lovecraftian horror and turned it into atmospheric black metal.
Okay, well now we talking my kind of language, because I don't know what it is about like celestial horror, or cosmic horror is another term that it goes by, or you can Lovecraftian. All three of those are pretty much the same thing.
So here's the thing. It is interesting. It's about 7 minutes long. It's 7 minutes. It's 7 songs long, and it's about 45 minutes long.
Yeah, that sounds about right for an atmospheric record.
It doesn't have enough variety.
Yeah, that also sounds like an atmospheric record.
It's like I like the tone. It's really cool sounding, and I think it has a creepier vibe than Storm Corrosion did. It's really cool, but every song kind of sounds the same. It doesn't help that there are no lyrics from what I can see, and any vocals are kind of just
screaming,
part of the atmosphere.
Yeah. Because there's an atmospheric band that a lot of people really like, and I was kind of excited for. And then I bought the record, and I fucking hate it, and that's Ghost Bath.
No idea what that is.
It's an atmospheric black metal avant-garde thing that a lot of people thought was from Japan, and then turned out no. It was just some dude in like Detroit.
If you want to, we're talking about doing a bonus episode, maybe either today or tomorrow or whatever, or maybe later today, because I do have to go see my grandmother for a little bit. Just between us recording, if you want to listen to the song "Chants of the Deep Ones," you'll get the vibe of pretty much the whole record of Blut aus Nord. I'll send you a link to it when we're done.
Cool.
I got it from the Metal Meltdown. I've briefly mentioned the Metal Meltdown before. I think it was around Halloween 2020, because it was still in our first year. I brought him up because I found his review of S&M 2, which Metallica put out that year, and then he reviewed the latest 6 Feet Under album, which was horrible, and I made you listen to part of it just to see how bad the vocals were. Outside of the darkness.
God, don't even start.
Oh man, it's so bad. But I really like his reviews, and I've started watching them recently. And he had a video of my top metal albums of the year so far. I'm like, why are you doing that? It's only February. And then I looked, I'm like, oh wait, no, it's June.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ethan, it's hot outside.
I know. Well, my brain, when I was setting up an appointment at my at the bariatric office, they're like, are you good for the 22nd of June? And I'm like, yeah, that's completely fine. Thinking it was like June 1st, but it was the week before the 22nd. I'm like, every time she said that, I was very confused. I'm like, what do you mean it's next week?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's only like, I was like, oh, wow, time is slow. I audibly said the other day, like a few days ago, why are they selling fireworks already?
Yeah, I was really confused for like a couple of days, and I'm like, oh, yeah, July 4th is around the corner. Oh, yeah.
But yes, so I watched that video, and there were some interesting picks on there, including the Blut aus Nord. I'm going to pronounce it differently every time.
Cool.
Album, and I was like, you know what? I have not really been trying a lot of new music. There was a Facebook post recently from one of my friends on there, and it was interesting. I was going to bring it up to you to talk about it probably. And he was commenting that he's a bit of an older guy, and he says he has problems trying to actually connect with new music, even if he likes it. Like that things don't stick or anything like that.
That's actually a common thing. A lot of people don't explore new music past their 30s.
Yeah, and I think he mentioned that, and I was like, I kind of have that. I'm like, I try to find new bands, and I'll even listen to a full album of something that I was like, yeah, this is really cool, and then I forget about them almost immediately.
Yeah. I have that current issue. Like back when I was in high school, man, I was gung ho about finding new music, and I made like a gigantic list.
You did. Yeah.
No, not that list. That's a different thing. I made a gigantic list of new bands for me to check out. And I've gone through that list a couple of times, and as my tastes have changed, I've like eliminated a bunch of bands because there was like new metal stuff on there because I was a little bit more open to new metal back in those days. And stuff like that. But I definitely do not have the like gung-ho nature of like, oh man, I really need to get on YouTube and just seek out new music. I will like, I have a friend that does like he'll post what he's listening to on Spotify and like what he rated it and what the genre is and everything of an album, and I'll like screenshot those as like ideas to check it out. He's really into sludge metal, so I tend to not go for those because, yes, I like Mastodon and Baroness, but most sludge I really don't care for. And to me, both of those bands are less sludge and more progressive. But there's that, or like I'll watch like Banger TV, and they'll be like their Metal Monthly, and I'll like get the little tidbit of a song, and then I'll like take a picture and be like, yeah, I'll check out this band and album. I haven't checked out something new in fucking forever. I don't even know. I think the last like new thing that I checked out that wasn't recommended to me by you was, wow, I'm forgetting the band. You did not like the album. It was like atmospheric progressive metal. Ulcerate. Yeah, I think that was the last like one that like grabbed me, and I was like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. I'm really into this. And like, I still really like that record, but I haven't like gone super often back to it.
Well, I mean, you said you listened to it like nonstop for a month, so
That's
I don't
true.
blame you.
So
I've been listening to like one Cannibal Corpse song for a few weeks. I know eventually I'm never going to touch it again.
But yeah, it's just a thing. As you get older, your mind doesn't want to, keep forming new pathways and stuff. And there are people that can push past it.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I've always said, like, especially recently as I've grown to actually love music, I don't want to be that guy that's like,
yeah, certainly
everything
same here.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy that's like, nothing is good anymore. I want to be able to hear new bands. I want to be able to love new bands. I think the last new band for me that I really started getting into, and I was like, I need to listen to everything, was Gaerea.
Which I
think I was
fantastic choice.
Yeah. And I think that, because I think I was already into Cattle by that point. And I was like, I need to listen to, that was it. Because in Fleshbore, we did cover Heaviest Matter a couple of times live.
Hell
and I was
yeah.
like, well, at that point, I wasn't getting Gaerea. The song I listened to for the first time was Stranded. I was like, this is cool, but I don't know why people are freaking out about Gaerea.
Yeah, and then you actually listened to The Whales.
Well, I didn't like Heaviest Matter that much either.
Wow,
I thought it was okay.
You dumb.
Well, I mean, the first time I heard it, I was like, again, this is okay. I didn't think it was horrible. It took me a long time to get into it. And then I was like, you know what? This song is actually really good. And then I remember you ride Gaerea's Whalecock, which is very fair. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to all of the Whale album. And I was like, and I still don't think I've ever gotten to the very end. I think I always like get distracted during global warming,
which is so unfortunate.
From Mars to Sirius,
because like,
I think it's actually in From Mars to Sirius that I kind of tune out sometimes.
That sucks, because From Mars to Sirius and Global Warming are fantastic tracks. It's the
I'll
two
probably
tracks.
Listen to them again.
It's the two tracks before those that I'm like, eh.
It's one of those where the dragon dwells.
That's the fifth song, so no. That's before Heaviest Matter. It's like Into the Forest and like something else or something like that, Into the Wilderness.
I think it is after Flying Whales. Yeah. I'm kind of like, because Flying Whale, they could have probably cut the album after Flying Whales and it would still be perfect. I'm like, oh, it's such a good song. But yeah, In the Wilderness and World to Come, I cannot tell you anything about those two songs.
They're good songs, but in scale of the rest of the album, except for Unicorn, because I don't give a shit about Unicorn. It's an interesting instrumental, but that's it.
But like Ocean Planet, Backbone, From the Sky, just
all punches to the face. And then where the dragons dwell is like a really nice, heavy, slow thing. And then you get into that fast, overwhelmingness of Heaviest Matter. And then you got Whales.
Yeah. I think Gaerea is the last band I like really heavy got into, because at that point I was already into Cattle.
See, my first Gaerea actual Gojira, because I actually had heard Joe Duplantier on the Apocalyptica song Bring Them to Light.
Interesting. I didn't know he did a song with them.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you because it's pretty good.
I guess I got into Devin Townsend pretty heavy.
That's fair.
More recent too.
That's fair. The Leprous a little bit.
It was really just a couple songs. I tried listening to their most recent. I guess I listened to all of the album that has Below on it. But then I tried listening to their most recent. They released one either this year or last year.
Yeah,
and I thought I didn't get past a minute and a half of the first song.
You should. If you're going to give a full listen to one of their records, I mean, everyone swears by their very first record. I've never heard it.
Cole?
No, Cole is not their first one.
No, I was saying you would probably go Cole.
Cole is all right, but I love The Congregation, which is, you remember where I had that like small phase of like those 2 live songs that I really, really liked? Both of those are from The Congregation.
Slave is off of Cole.
Slave is not off of Cole.
Give me a second. I could have sworn it was off of Cole.
It is not.
Or maybe I'm just confusing the. Yes, no, you are correct. That's the. For some reason, I think the name Cole kind of vibes with that cover art a little bit more, in my opinion. Don't know why. But yeah, no. Slave is a great song. I like that song a lot.
But from Mars to Sirius, that the 2 songs, the build up from Mars going into Sirius, it's so fucking good. It's so good. You need to listen to that full record. My first Gojira experience though was Vacuity, which is off of The Way of All Flesh.
That's a great one.
And I remember hearing that, and my friend gave me From Mars to Sirius. I was like, no, I wanted the one that had Vacuity on it. And then I went through it From Mars to Sirius. It's like, and I was like, oh, you know what? No, this is fine.
Yeah, I'm hooked. Yeah, this is good.
Fine.
This is good. I think the second song that I got into, like, because when I finally got into the heaviest matter, I think the second song I really got into was Sight to Behold.
Yeah.
And I really like Sight to Behold. I really like that.
It's very different.
Gojira is just perfect.
Hey, so we're a Gojira podcast now.
I love Gojira, dude.
L'Enfant Sauvage, because that was the first tour I ever saw them on. Oh my God. And the lineup was fucking perfect because it was the Atlas Moth, which you haven't listened to. They're pretty cool. I'll give them to you sometime. I think they might be considered sludge, and I also really like them.
So this is an argument I got into. It's when I witnessed on Death Metal Growl posting recently, because there was a meme that had all of the Gojira albums, and it's like the girl you like, yada yada yada, you. Where do you stand currently on the Fortitude versus Magma debate?
I think I prefer Fortitude a bit more. I like both records, but I think Fortitude might be the better one. I feel like it's a bit more diverse in sound.
I think it trades places for me. I think I'm kind of like just in the middle of both of them, and some days I kind of like Magma more. Sometimes I kind of like Fortitude more.
Because, I mean, there's some really heavy-ass awesome tracks off of Magma, like Silvera.
Silvera's great. I like Shooting Star a lot.
Shooting Star is awesome. It was
same with Prey. Prey is a good one, too.
Prey's a good one. What's the other one? Off of that record.
I do appreciate Stranded now. I think it's very groovy.
The Cell.
Oh, yeah,
really
the Cell. Yeah.
Magma's interesting. Only Pain's good. Like, the entire album's solid. I hate the last song, Liberation. Yeah. I think they should have ended with Lowlands, with how the outro just goes into a single guitar, acoustic guitar. I think it works much better as an outro ending to the album, and I always skip Lowlands. Or not Lowlands, Liberation, I mean.
I just think it's weird how, like, Magma is... It seems like Magma is a love or hate album, and... I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's a good record.
Oh, I don't think it's a bad record. I think it also gets that, like, same thing that, like, the Opeth record after Watershed gets, which is, this was the turning point. We're losing are artists. Because, I mean, you know, granted, Joe hasn't done the whole Michael thing where he's like, yeah, I'm just not into death metal anymore.
Well, I think he said that. I think they said their next record is supposed to be heavy.
That's what he said.
And I'm excited for it.
Versus Michael, who was like, if I'm going to do death metal, I'm going to do like straight death metal.
Which I would still be interested in hearing. I would like that. I would like for him to just come back and do another Bloodbath record, except for the fact that he can't growl anymore.
Yeah. You can fix that in post.
It makes me sad. We can fix it in post. You can just get the guy from that record that I thought was Michael. But here's a hot take on the reviews from Metallum of Magma. They label it an 86%.
Okay, solid.
And it's named better than L'Enfant Sauvage.
That's a fucking bold ass lie. Fuck these people.
That is a hot take and a half.
That is wrong.
Has he reviewed
all that bullshit I said about like music opinions and like people have different no, fuck that. That is objectively a wrong statement. L'Enfant Sauvage is a goddamn masterpiece on par with From Mars to Sirius and The Way of All Flesh. That is the holy trinity of Gaerea. Fuck everyone that says anything else. I'm a big Gaerea fan.
I was hoping he would have reviewed that record too, just to see if I could see what he would have rated it. But
I peeked a lot during that argument.
Yeah. You can actually see, like, if somebody reviews something on Metallum, you can actually click on their name and go to everything they've reviewed. And in general, this guy seems like a pretty...
No, not
like
with
positive
an
reviewer.
Nope, not with an opinion like that. Is trashed here.
He gave Nea Obliviscaris' Urn a 97.
I mean,
he gave
he's not wrong.
He gave Atma a 95.
Still not wrong.
Spiritual Migration a 99.
No, very, very correct. His opinions on Gaerea are garbage.
Prog's and Tech's most powerful release to this date? ? For Spiritual Migration.
A lot of people really swear by that. Sometimes I kick myself in the gut for not giving you that one instead of Atma. I just really gelled with Atma when it came out.
The title for Atma's review is Spiritual Migration's Vegan Cousin.
Yeah, kind of. See, I
kind of dig that name. He's a good namer for some things.
The thing about Atma was with Spiritual Migration, they really went to the technical wankery at points. And
yes,
I
agree.
No,
I liked my metaphor about it. Oh,
that's Spiritual Migration. I think it's way more than what you were hearing in Atma.
Interesting.
But a lot of people really fucking love Spiritual Migration, and I do too. Like, they're both equal to me. I think the flow of Atma might be a bit better because it feels like more of a single conceptual album, especially since the last song is like 4-part whatever thing. Right. I still haven't listened to their newest one, but I know a lot of people weren't as jazzed up about it.
Oh, I didn't realize they came out with a new one.
They came out with one that I believe this year or late last year.
Interesting.
I have it on my desk. I just haven't listened to it. It's the same. Here are all the CDs that I have not put on my computer. In Flames, Come Clarity. I've listened to Come Clarity. I have Come Clarity, but I don't own Come Clarity. Now I actually own it. Same thing with Scar Symmetry's Holographic Universe. The newest Septic Flesh, Ibaraki, the newest Meshuggah, Leprous is the Congregation, the newest Cynic, and the newest Persephone. I have not listened to any of these.
I did listen to the new Septic Flesh.
I've heard
it was. It's good. The problem is, I've only listened to it once, and I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah,
right now.
I've heard it's good, bad. But it's no Codex Omega, is what I've heard.
I could agree to that. I've listened to Immutable by Meshuggah once. I think the singles are the best songs on the record.
I think there's like one song on the record that a lot of people like that wasn't a single.
Gotcha. I'll probably listen to it again, but I do kind of tend to agree with the reviews of it's very long-winded and they probably could have cut a couple tracks because there's a couple instrumentals on it.
Yeah, I've heard that review.
It's not bad though. I really like the opener. The opener is my favorite. Broken Cog. I just love the pattern. My roommate was like, I said that about Broken Cog. I was like, I really like the pattern, the rhythm. And he was like, wow, you like a Meshuggah song for the rhythm? You're really rocking the boat. Like,
that's fair.
Like, screw you.
he ain't wrong, though.
It's kind of like the actual comment I saw yesterday about Metallica playing Metal Militia for the first time in like 10 years or something live. And the guy was like, Metallica hasn't put anything good out since their fourth record. Like, you're really rocking the boat with that take, brother.
Yeah. Wow. Who I can't believe somebody would have such a hot take right there.
If I kind of want to bite the bullet the next time Fantano has a Let's Argue segment, like post or something. It's like, give me your hot takes or whatever. And I just want to trollingly put Metallica haven't made anything good and since Injustice for All and see if he's like, and see if he makes fun of it. I've been watching a lot of Fantano recently.
I've seen that. I will fight that man in a Shoney's parking lot.
I feel like you guys would actually get along
probably.
Quite well.
That's the worst part is we probably would be best friends. And we would just have that one like little bit of like animosity about Blackwater Park.
True.
That would be like the one thing that keeps us from like becoming best friends.
I love that thing I sent you yesterday though from his cringing with Tom White boy. That video is hilarious. Just his cringing with Tom McDonald series is ridiculous. I hate Tom McDonald so much. But yeah, so
hot take. We like Gaerea and they're a good band.
We really like Gaerea.
That's not.
Yeah, Gaerea is a great band.
Yeah. Fun fact, all bands I listen to are great bands.
That's not true.
Which is why I have
Kat, what are you doing?
Which is why I have bands like Coldplay in my playlist.
Do you actually?
Yeah. I used to be now here's the thing. I have not listened to Coldplay since I was in high school.
I mean, Coldplay is kind of garbo these days, TBH.
I mean, the last one the only album I have by them is the Viva La Vida album.
Gotcha.
That has like that really popular song on it that I can't remember what it's called. I think they do some interesting things, but Viva La Vida is the song. I'm dumb.
The title track.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to them since I was in high school, but I haven't deleted them either. Versus like I've deleted most of the Metallica stuff I have.
It's sad and you're wrong.
It's not because I don't like them. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I'm never in the mood to go and listen to Metallica. It's like, if somebody puts Metallica on, I'm not unhappy. It's just...
I have kind of been listening to Metallica again recently.
Wow.
Like, I never quite stopped.
Really?
I never really stopped.
You listening to Metallica?
Bite me.
Whoa.
Have you ever seen there's a YouTuber, the channel is called Bog Studios, and he does Metallica songs in the style of Meshuggah.
I think I've seen like something
good.
Of his.
They're really good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on in my playlist that like I have, but I've either never listened to or briefly, like the Blue Oyster Cult, their first album. My guitar teacher swore by it, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. Back when I had a guitar teacher. I mean, I haven't listened to Alter Bridge in God knows how long.
I still want to listen to their most recent record, but the last thing I've really dove into was Fortress.
I mean, Fortress is a fantastic record.
It is. It's a very good album.
I mean, that very first song, Cry of Achilles, with the Spanish guitar intro.
Yes. I like... and of course, they're not on Metallum, so I need to go Alter Bridge, Fortress. There's a specific song that I really like.
Addicted to Pain,
Bleed It Dry is great. I like Calm the Fire.
So, like, I always have people that are like, you like Alter Bridge? And I'm like, are you saying that
Alter Bridge is great.
Yeah, I'm like, are you saying that because literally every member in it was in Creed except for the singer? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, they're two different, completely different bands, and Alter Bridge is like god tier compared to Creed.
I mean, yeah, it's you take my favorite joke about Creed is that they're Creed. The best thing about Creed is that they're most of Alter Bridge.
Yeah, like Alter Bridge is solid, but I haven't listened to them in forever.
Post grunge.
God, I don't even remember the last time I listened to Apocalyptica.
I don't think I've ever. I mean, I have, but I don't think I've ever wanted to. Really.
I mean, the thing is Apocalyptica does compose their own stuff, but they're known for their Metallica covers on cello.
Right.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on here that I have that, might be from high school, or it might be one of those things where, I swear, yeah, I'll totally listen to this eventually, or it's one of those things where I'm like, who knows, maybe I'll get a kick for going back and listening to the first Cage the Elephant album. It's a great album. I haven't touched that thing since early high school or early
I assume
college.
That's the album that has
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's another Cage the Elephant song that I know, but not offhand.
That entire album is great. In One Year In 1 Year is a great song. Of course, you have Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
Drones in the Valley's fantastic. I mean, that entire album is pretty fucking good. Their second album, in my opinion, was garbage, though.
For me, Ain't No Rest for the Wicked is kind of like one of those songs where I think I'm sick of it until I hear it randomly.
And then you're like, oh, wait.
Like, oh, yeah, this song is great.
And then it goes like a couple of months, and you're like, God, I'm so sick of that song. And then you hear it again, and you're like, oh, fuck yeah, that song.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I make fun of people who really stan the early deathcore Bring Me the Horizon stuff. Because people are like, it's so much better. Count Your Blessings is a perfect album when it's the most cookie cutter deathcore you could imagine. But Pray for Plagues is still kind of a banger. I was like, oh man, Bring Me the Horizon fans are cringy. Their new stuff is actually better. And then Pray for Plagues came out. I was like, oh yeah, this song is actually kind of heavy.
So you did ask me if I was listening to anything or had like anything worthy besides like the fact that I'm pushing through. Like I was listening to Soen earlier, which eventually I'll give you Soen one day. Soen's good. It has Opeth's original drummer.
Interesting.
He left the band because he got in a motorcycle accident, or he was like kicked out, one of the two, but it was one of those things where it seemed like his injuries would make it so he couldn't play drums anymore. Michael, I don't know the full story. I'm pretty sure Michael was like, man, I wish that didn't happen, but we had to keep going kind of thing.
Right.
But he, I guess, recovered enough that he's able to play drums again. I don't know if he would be able to play something like Opeth, like the like really fast, heavy stuff. But but it doesn't matter. There is a thing that popped into my ear that is currently an earworm. I only heard it yesterday. I sent it to you.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh my God. Please do. I'm not big into power metal. I do not like power metal. I'm not big on the vocals, and honestly, power metal sometimes is way too cheery for me. And too just like, I'm going to say cringe because that's the word that's coming to my head, but that's not what I mean exactly. But it's like cringy, unbearable almost. Like it's that geeky kid in the corner that does the Naruto run down the hall, where you're just like, you feel slightly embarrassed being around the person, but they're your friend, so you're like, yeah, it's fine. I've never been big in the power metal. There's power metal I like. I mean, there's some Dragon Force songs that really slap that isn't Through the Fire and the Flames, and I don't care how popular Through the Fire and Flames is. It's a good song. Get over it, you fucking metal elitists. That means
no.
Blind Guardian. I mean, hot take. Wow, I named Blind Guardian as a power metal band. I like. Wow, what a fucking surprise! One of the biggest power metal bands in history. But
what about Glory Hammer?
Now they rape people. I'm okay.
I would not be comfortable in saying that they actively rape people.
No, Glory Hammer's fine, but
I liked their newest song. I'm at least looking forward to their new music, I guess.
Wow, Ethan, really separating the artist from the art, huh? Wow.
I listen to Spotify. I'm not supporting them anyway.
That 0.00001 cent could take them very far.
Yeah, it could.
It's fine. Occasionally, I'll like look at Death Spell Omega and be like, "This could have been really good."
It's like, oh, what could have been?
What could have been? I was watching Blaine from Banger TV yesterday, and he was doing his Metal Monthly, and he ended the show with this band. They are called Fellowship. The song is called Until the Fires Die.
Nerds.
It is literally the equivalent of like LARPers going out into a fucking nice field. Now, granted, they're in England, so it's like the nice, like, mountainy Scotland kind of looking stuff. So it does look really like Middle Earth. Like, I can't like be like, oh, you guys just went to your local forest, and then I can't say that because that's black metal people that do that. It is so unbearably cringy, but at the same time, goddamn, it's catchy and it's fun and it just puts a smile on my face. And I don't want to listen to more of them, but this particular song, I'm just like, man, I just want to hear this song because it's so silly and fun. I think part of the appeal is you can really tell that the people playing the music are just having a fucking fun ass time doing what they're doing. They don't care that like people might be pointing and laughing or anything. They're just like, hell yeah, man. We are nerdy. We like Lord of the Rings.
That's just power metal. I think every power metal band is like that.
Yes, but this is like on a higher level because I think with the power metal people, similar to like Steel Panther, they're kind of in on the joke and they're making fun of themselves and just doing this like exaggeration to like fit the stereotype.
Do you not think Glory Hammer has fun?
No. Have
you seen their
Facebook messages
videos?
say different.
God damn. Their music videos are so silly. Fine. Yeah. I'm gonna listen to this song. I'm gonna listen to the song while you talk.
And yeah, I'm not saying that the other bands are.
Wow. Immediate ham. Jesus.
Yeah, told you. Like but this feels like these guys are like taking it super serious. They're not like they're having fun because they enjoy the LARPiness and not because they enjoy just hanging out and being goofy. Blaine gave a really interesting review. And I just want to quote some of them. This seems like some unbearable theater kids who have no idea how unbearable they're being, but it's amazing. I think you could lock me in a white room for a week and have this play on loop 24/7 and I would come out of there in a better emotional state than what I was when I entered. It's just really nice, fun, happy music by some happy, fun, soft-seeming boys. You about to shit
I will
on?
agree that they seem to be having a lot of fun. I don't like the vocals that much. I'm not sure if it's the. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm at the chorus.
Probably.
It's not bad.
Is he getting really handsy in gestures?
Yes.
Yeah, he's at the chorus.
It's definitely not bad. It's definitely. I feel like they. In terms of musicality, I feel like they and Glory Hammer are on like opposite sides where Glory Hammer is like space Lord of the Rings, and this is just Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, this is more Blind Guardian.
It definitely isn't bad. I wouldn't be against like looking at their other music, but this is really hammy. It's very sparkly.
This is their only album, though, by the way.
It's just it has a lot of sparkly in it.
It's so sparkly. It's so happy and fun. They just want you.
It's definitely not bad.
They want you to just come on a nice little journey. They want to go on a nice little adventure with you.
Okay, I think I do like his voice. I'm on the second chorus. Yeah, I dig it. Okay.
All of a sudden it comes out of nowhere, because that's how I was the first time. I was like, oh no, it's power metal vocals, and then I was just like, oh no, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, because Thomas, whatever his name is, I'll just say Angus McFife, the original vocalist of Glory Hammer, because they have replaced him now. He had that operatic voice, but it wasn't in like that super high register. Like this guy has a much higher register, I think, whereas Thomas's was still kind of not as piercing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if I listen to this versus Goblin King of the Darkstorm Galaxy, I think there's a little bit of a difference in their singing style, which you would hope for. You don't want everybody to sound exactly the same. Oh, and then even comparing to the new song Fly Away, which I think is a little bit closer to this. I don't know where I'm at anymore. I'm just kind of rambling. I like this. It's not bad. I might check them out a little bit more. Yeah, I dig it.
Do it. You only have to listen to one album, so
yeah, it's not bad. The comments are overwhelmingly positive.
Oh yeah, and everyone's just like, man, this makes me feel happy. I just love that, and I think it's because of that stupid sparkliness.
Fellowship are modern bards.
Yeah. Wow, what a hot take to every power metal band.
Hobbit metal, the music you never knew you needed until you heard it.
Also every power metal band. It's like power metal and nerdy black metal are just like, it's like that. Oh, I accidentally kicked my mic. It's like that meme that it's like, you're going to die of fun. But yeah, it's not something I'm like inclined to check out, but I really enjoyed that song. It was fun. I definitely know that eventually it's going to be one of those songs where I'm just like, oh yeah, you remember Fellowship? Looks up song, listens to it 5 times, stops.
Yeah. That wasn't bad. Okay, I can dig it.
I don't like power metal because of the vocals. It's the same reason I don't like a lot of like older heavy metal like Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden is definitely the predecessor to power metal.
I mean, I agree, but I disagree with like you not liking it, really.
Okay. Well, didn't we have a fucking 2-hour long conversation about like differences? I didn't say it was bad.
I mean, I can still disagree with your opinion.
No, fuck you.
I'm not saying you're a bad person for your opinion. I'm saying you're a bad person.
I am the busiest music nerd on the internet.
You're not even on the internet most of the time.
Well, I Facebook scroll a lot.
That's fair. I doom scroll a lot too. I've been actually diving into Death's discography recently.
Nice. I have been seeing that. They got some good stuff. I still think Leprosy's a little overhyped.
I mean, have you listened? I thought the only album you listened to all the way was the last one.
Yeah, it is the only one that I've listened to all the way, but I've listened to parts of Leprosy, Human, and there's like one other one.
Symbolic. Yeah, I listened to all of Symbolic, and it's a great record. I went on to Individual Thought Patterns, and it is good, but I don't really like his more. I kind of like his higher piercing scream than I do his like the growl he has in Leprosy, which he also kind of has in Individual Thought Patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still kind of going back and through. So I've been liking it a lot, though. Death is a very good band.
Hey, have you heard that Niall and Brad Paris have parted ways?
Yes, I have heard that. Thank you.
Sorry, I just keep like scrolling through like Instagram or Facebook and then it pops up.
Another thing that I can kind of tie back to a Facebook conversation I avoided. It had to do with Gaerea, the new single they put out. They have like an aesthetic where they all wear blackened hoods with like symbols and stuff on them.
I love Batushka.
I mean, it's very Batushka-y. I made a joke on Death Metal Growl posting that got no attention. I said they were Kanye West rip-off bands.
Oh.
Just because he kind of did the same thing once, and I thought it was funny.
Batushka's my top 5 favorite metal bands.
So there was, of course, it was an older dude, and there was like, oh man, a band that wears masks, how original, or something. Like he was basically saying that if you have some sort of aesthetic like that, you don't make good music. I mean, everybody was like, this album kind of rips, dude. Why don't you just listen to it?
Right.
And his only response to everybody was a gif of Dimebag. I'm like,
well, he's really selling it right there.
Just like, oh my God.
We get it. You liked Pantera and you were sad when he died. We get it.
Straight up, I think if Dimebag was still alive today, he wouldn't be a god that people think he. No, he. I am not trying to take anything away from Dimebag Darrell. He was a great guitar player.
Very good guitar player. I'm not big on
his tone because his tone gives me a headache sometimes. But I like I like a handful of Pantera songs. They were a good band.
Yeah, I
think their fan base are horrible, but Pantera is a good band. Dimebag was a good guitar player. I know he's only this famous because he got shot and he died.
And that sucks.
That is very sad.
And, that he got shot the way he got shot because it was in the middle of a fucking show.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that he was part of Pantera.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to be honest. Here's a good example. The Eagles of Death Metal. I had never heard of those fuckers until that little terrorist attack that happened.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of them.
But which terrible name for their band. They are not death metal in the slightest.
I think that's the joke.
Well, fuck them. Also, the lead singer is very Islamophobic, especially after, of course, the terrorist attack. But
didn't know that.
Yeah. And like, I get it. I'd be kind of scared after something like that happening, but like, don't be a piece of shit human being. Anyways, but yeah, no, and I feel that way about a lot of people that unfortunately pass away. Their art, they like rise up above where they were when.
Yeah.
And by no means should you take away, like Van Gogh is a big one. Like Van Gogh's art's always been really good, but he didn't get praised for his art until after he died.
Right.
And it's very sad for that to be the catalyst that happens, because Dimebag was a very good guitar player, but I think it has gone way above where he's at. Super talented, and from what everyone has always said about him, he was like a super cool, nice, chill guy.
Yeah, I've heard that, and like, man, I think if you were able to, summon Dimebag's ghost or whatever. I don't even think he would be like, I'm not the best guitar player of all time.
No,
dude.
God, no.
Like, no, I hate doing this, but in like today's standards of like technical guitar playing and everything, come on. Like, well, it's like Phil Anselmo said, man, like, who cares about if you can do sweeps? Can you feel the emotion of the music?
Yeah, in a sweep, I really can. It's all the fucking hard work that the person put in to do that.
I mean, I kind of get it when people are like, newer music doesn't have much feeling and it's kind of wanky. There are a lot of wanky bands.
There's so many wanky bands.
But like, I honestly think if Dimebag was alive or he came back today and he sat with Dean Lamb from Archspire, I'm pretty sure he would say Dean Lamb is better than him.
Also, like, there are tons of wanky bands that put a lot of emotion in the music. Persephone, like that shit drips with emotion as well as technical wankery.
I can agree to that.
So and much technical wankery.
There's another comment that there's a thing that I thought of recently where people who are kind of just stuck in the 90s or whatever, like, do you think if Chuck was still around today, like Chuck Schuldiner from Death, that he would be super into like modern death metal? I think he would be.
I mean, his sound was definitely changing towards the more like progressive death.
Yeah,
and everything.
There are people like, oh man, I bet Chuck would hate it here.
I've seen comments of like, man, I wish Chuck didn't go away because I bet him and Michael Ockerfeldt would have made one hell of a fucking record.
I could agree to that. I think that would have been amazing. It's just I've said it before where I think metalheads are some of the best and worst fans of of any music genre.
Well, and it's because they're like die hard, but they're die hard without being open-minded. Sometimes. Yes. Not everyone. Obviously, you can't, group people up like that, but it's definitely a running problem, especially with older metalheads because they're very stuck in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And
I'm not taking away those albums and those bands. I enjoy a lot of them.
Well, and like most of the bands that I listen to currently grew up on that shit. Like if the other bands didn't happen, I doubt Opeth would have been the thing. I doubt Gojira would have been a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
it's one of those things that people have said, if Metallica didn't exist, a significant portion of modern bands would not be the same, or, this, that, or the other, with just how prolific some of those early bands were.
Yeah. And I agree with that statement. That doesn't mean they're like top, gun best thing of all time.
No.
It just means they were very influential.
Although I think there is an argument to be made of them. They are probably the most important band of all time, IMO.
Black Sabbath.
Well, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, Sabbath, yeah. It's like Sabbath, Dio, Metallica.
Slayer. More Slayer.
And Slayer.
But we wouldn't have Black Sabbath without Beethoven, so like...
Yeah,
you guys,
that's true.
Beethoven's the ultimate metal band.
Give me some of that going music.
Like Daddy used to play that song so much.
That was I knew you would like it.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, the John Cage part. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
it was very fun. It's very funny. Yeah, I've been doing that. I started listening to Wu-Tang. Like I've never really listened to old school, like super influential hip hop.
Yeah, I've never listened to Wu-Tang.
A couple of songs are really good. I haven't like sat down with the whole record yet, but it's good. They actually had a song. They did a couple of these records where they brought in smaller and indie rappers, and Aesop was on a track.
Oh, that's cool.
It's called Preservation, and so was Del, the Funky Homo Sapien, which is Ice Cube's cousin, and you would probably know him from Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he's the rapper on that song.
I fucking love that song, but who doesn't like Clint Eastwood?
Exactly. It's a great one. Yeah, so I've been trying to listen to some new music lately. I think I'm kind of what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing that I've been noticing getting into myself, but you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
No,
because I was trying to start wrapping up.
I've been wanting to do that for a while.
Sorry.
But I've always had like this love for, I don't even remember if we talked about this episode or not. This love for like New Orleans style Americana folk.
Yes, we've talked about it this episode.
Okay, cool. Well, then I don't need to get into it. Go listen to Bridge City Centers. They're pretty interesting.
Yes. All right. Let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. I can go first.
No, I got this.
So, okay, go ahead.
So, I know that I've made you listen to a lot of prog lately.
Oh, God.
So what I'm going to do is I don't think you've had enough Steven Wilson.
No.
So I'm joking. I'm not going to give you Fear of a Blank Planet by Porcupine Tree. I haven't even listened to the record fully.
Okay.
So
I was like, I need a Steven Wilson break.
Just gives you another Steven Wilson record instead, just his newest one. No, I actually want to give you a break from prog for like 2 seconds. Because I did double Steven Wilson on you. So, I'm actually going to give you a band. And this is the thing about this band. I love this band. I constantly forget about them and how good I think they are. And then I'm like, I should listen to that record. And then I put the record on. I'm like, oh my fucking God, this slaps. Why do I always forget about this? I don't think they're very well known. They're a German band. They're not Rammstein. They are symphonic metal.
Okay.
And they actually perform. The band members are actually part of the symphony. They have like a couple of woodwind players, a couple of string players, a couple of opera singers, a fucking harpsichord player. And everything. And I thought they broke up, but I guess they were at 70,000 tons of metal recently. The band is called Haggard.
I have heard of Haggard.
And I'm giving you Eppur si Muove.
Their 2004 record. Sure. It's their most popular.
Does it have an old man on the cover?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. I have heard of Haggard before.
So expect like a lot of like Renaissance-esque early Baroque style, which I know that shit doesn't mean shit to you. But like that style symphony with some like metal rhythmic stuff and opera ham. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of bands that are coming back, I did listen to the new Winter Horde song.
I forgot to mention that.
I thought it was I thought it was pretty good, if I remember correctly. I listened to it like 3 times in a row when I did listen to it, and I haven't re-listened to it yet.
I thought it was all right.
I enjoyed it.
I don't think it's their best thing ever, but they also were like, we're probably not putting this one on the album.
Yeah. I think it was, I wasn't huge into like the first minute. It's like after the first like transition into another part was when I got really into it. Haggard, progressive death metal early. Interesting.
No. If that's Metallum, they are very wrong.
Well, with that, I think they mean their stuff from like the 90s.
Oh, I see. I only know 4 records.
And Thou Shalt Trust, Awakening the Centuries, Eppur, and Tales of Etheria.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably talking about the demos and EPs they did in the early 90s.
Gotcha.
Yes, so, okay, yeah, Haggard.
Hey.
Merle. Okay, I have an entire list of things I can give you.
Another dead video game that came back was Witchfire. I totally forgot about that one.
Don't know it.
Witchfire is an FPS in which like you have guns, but there's also magic, and it kind of gives off like Dishonored vibes / Painkiller vibes. And I'm glad that it gives Painkiller vibes because the studio that's working on it worked on Painkiller.
Interesting.
So it looks like one of those like horde shooters, but you are like a witch.
I guess there was a metal themed game that came out recently.
It hasn't come out. The demo came out. It still hasn't come out yet.
Is it Metal Hellsinger?
Yes. And it has a bunch of, I've been talking about that one occasionally on our podcast because it has, like Matt Heafy and Randy Blythe and Alyssa.
Yes, we have talked about that before.
Interesting. It's got a bunch of, the only like one that I wasn't like super, it has Michael Stane on it.
You turned into a major robot there. I cannot understand a word you're saying.
Am I good?
You sound like Hal is trying to kill me.
Okay, one sec.
There was another metal themed game that I remember talking about on the show.
Yeah, but it's not this game. This is a rhythm shooter.
Yeah, this was like a metal themed choice based game. And I was like kind of excited for it, and then I heard it sucks, like really bad.
So with Metal Hellsinger, it even has Michael Stame on it. The only one that I wasn't excited for, which I know other people are, is it has Surge on it. I didn't like it, but I'm not big on Surge to begin with. I think his vocals are really interesting, but I don't like them all the time. I like his super clean singing.
The game I'm talking about is Of Bird and Cage.
Oh, I kind of remember you talking about it, and I hadn't heard about it outside of you talking about it.
Yeah, apparently it's not good.
So, but yeah, I gave you my record.
That's weird. It has a 9 out of 10 on Steam. Maybe they fixed it.
Maybe. I gave you my record.
Yes. Okay. I was originally planning on giving you first of all, I guess I can delete Job for a Cowboy. I was planning on giving you like an underhand, easy pitch song or album to listen to.
But fuck me.
Huh?
But, it sounded like you were going to put a but here.
No, I'm trying to decide what I was going to give you. Because, honestly, I was thinking about giving you Symbolic by Death, but I don't know how much of that you've listened to.
Not a lot.
Gotcha.
Honestly, like maybe a song or two off of Symbolic. It's just been in the like on my Amazon wish list forever. That's why I know it so well. Symbolic and Human are both on there, but I've listened to like 1 or 2 tracks off of both of those albums.
Maybe I'll put that one on the back burner. I mean, yeah, how about we go with some tech death?
Oh boy, more tech death. What could it be?
Or, well, I'll give you a choice. Tech death or like Blackened Doom. Or Doomed Black.
I don't
Screw
know.
it. No choice. You're getting a Gaerea's Limbo.
Okay. I was about to say, are you just going to give me the band that you were telling me about earlier?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been on my list for a little bit since I've heard that record.
What was the one song you wanted me to listen to? The Celestial Horror?
Oh, let me. I can just pull that up and send it to you after we're done recording.
Yep.
Lot as Nord. Deep Chance at the Deep Ones.
Jesus Christ, it's almost 5 o'clock.
Yes, I'm quite aware. So we're not going to do the bonus episode at least immediately after this. I need to go and hang out with my family for a little bit. But if you want to do it later today, that'd be cool too.
Sure. Whatever.
After we chill out for a bit. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to give you Limbo by the band Gaerea. It is spelled Gaerea.
I hope you're sending that to me.
Yes, I'll send it to you. Okay. The album's called Limbo. It came out in 2020. It's a 6-song album spanning about 51 minutes.
I bet you one of the Banger TV people probably reviewed it or something because it.
Let me Banger TV Gaerea. Do nothing pops up.
Oh, really?
At least nothing with it in the name.
Well, no, but they might have mentioned it in like this is coming out kind of thing or something.
It's possible. But yeah, it's a good record. My only complaint about it is there are like a couple of parts where the vocalist has this kind of weird thing he does with his vocals.
I might know exactly what it is if it's similar to like other atmospheric black metal.
I would kind of put it more towards like dramatic metalcore, not in terms of like performance, but like he does like a scream, but then he kind of lets it die out, where it's like supposed to be giving like a really like emotionally shattered. I think
this is something that happens in atmospheric a lot, but I'll know when I hear it.
Yeah, you'll definitely hear it. And if you want to listen to their most recent single, you can do that too. So yes, next episode, hopefully everything starts coming out on a regular basis. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
And I mean, I still have to put up the updated, not misspelled logo stuff.
As well as the entire last episode.
And the entire last episode, which I'll try to get that edited here tomorrow or Monday. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to the Distorted I didn't even say. We're going to go over Gaerea's Limbo and Haggard's name I can't pronounce. Eppur Muove.
Sure.
I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to go over those two albums on the next episode. Thank you guys for tuning in to Distorted Entertainment. Of course, my name is Ethan Carpenter, and I am joined by Mitchell Wade. If you liked what you hear, please go ahead and share it with your friends, family, and your enemies, just because, hey, it helps out a lot. You can find us on Facebook.com/distentpod and Twitter.com/distentpod. That's DISTENTPOD. All links and stuff will be in the description.
Also, buy my coffee. It's on our Facebook.
Yes, we posted about coffee and things. It's not like the Buy Me a Coffee website or whatever it's called. It's legitimately just a link through Geek Grind, and Geek Grind's very, very delicious.
Yep, and it comes with a coupon code, and I get some of the money. So please, I'm poor. Buy the
really
good
sorry
coffee.
About the lack of episodes. We're trying to get that fixed. We're not dead, at least not yet. And we will see you guys in the next episode. See you later.
Bye-bye.